So business is awesome, right? You can almost picture it. Working for an international company, or even starting your own. Maybe where you live now, or around the world. It could be anywhere. The possibilities are endless. But how do you make this happen? Well, study International Business Administration in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University, is one of the top business schools in Europe, whose mission is to be a force for positive change. One of the first business schools to formally adopt the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals as part of the curriculum, ensuring that the next generation of business leaders are driven to be part of the solution when it comes to facing our global challenges. And the best of all, it's affordable. IBA is a 3-year bachelor program. You'll follow courses and work on projects with students from all over the world. The study program is fully in English, but learning Dutch is a great way to integrate into the Dutch culture and work environment. You'll learn how to write business plans for real companies, research international markets, and negotiate with people from other countries. Deal. And internships? No problem. Rotterdam's got the biggest port in Europe and is home to lots of international companies. Plus, RSM has a dedicated career center that will help you put your best foot forward in the job market. The city is also perfect for not studying. Together with other students, you get to know about different cultures, go to festivals, sport events, and hang out at great places. When you have finished your IBA studies, you may have a friend working in marketing in the US, or finance in China, or maybe logistics in the UK. So you can get started, well, anywhere. Are you ready for business? Study IBA at RSM.
Welcome at Erasmus University, and a very special welcome at Rotterdam School of Management, or how we call it in short, RSM. I'm Luc Veenenturf. I'm the program director of the bachelor programs at RSM. We have 2 bachelor programs, IBA, International Business Administration, but I will call it IBA during this presentation since that is how we call it here as well, and the Dutch program Bedrijfskunde. What is on the agenda today? I'm here to tell you everything about the program, but also to answer your questions, since I can also imagine that there are quite some questions. What we do is, I will briefly start with the end, with just giving 3 potential profiles of where you can end after studying IBA. Then I will give some details about the program, and I do not only do that alone, I also have Tom here, which is a 2nd-year student of our IBA program, and he will also give some highlights of the program. And then, of course, what is the learning environment at RSM? But the main question is, it's an exciting time for you. You have to decide, what do I want to do? What study do I want to choose? So is IBA the right fit, yes or no? It's an important question you want to be answered. So just looking at the end, these are just 3 potential profiles. So after studying IBA, maybe you will become a global consultant or analyst. Then you work internationally, work with data-driven methods to make very important decisions for multinational companies. It could also be that you will become an international marketeer, that you help to shape the global brands of these international companies. Or that you're an operations specialist, that you want to optimize the worldwide operations. Or we also call that supply chain management. That's actually my field of expertise. But maybe you want to be a sustainability advocate. It could be that you are going to work in those companies and to help within sustainability projects or within financial decisions around this. So these are just 3 potential options, and there are many, many more. Since IBA, Business Administration, is a very broad program. So how is our program shaped? I will first do it very briefly, and then we go over it year by year, so every year separate. So the first 2 years, we cover all functional domains of companies. And I just, in the examples, you just saw 3, but you see here there are already many more. You could also be an HR specialist, etc. So these are all functional domains in companies. We teach you courses about all this, so about HR, about supply chain management, as said. But also, of course, the company within a context, and especially its IBA international business within the global context. So that's in the middle more, the strategy and the international management. We focus on this in the first 2 years. Then the third year is about specialization. You see already some options, but I will go into more detail when we get to the third year. Let's start with the first year. As said, you will follow courses in each of these domains. So example courses can be found here. Introduction to business, that's the broader perspective, so the middle part. But you also have organizational behavior, so it's in the human resources part. Next to this, it's important to mention that also in the first year, they're not on this slide, you will also have quite some quantitative courses. You have mathematics, statistics, etc. To make data-driven decisions, you also need a background in mathematics. And in any Bachelor of Science program, you need statistics. And research is also statistics. So that is also covered in the first year. Maybe 2 courses more in the spotlight. The first one is strategic business plan, but I know Tom is going to say something about it, so we will not talk too much about this, but that are the courses which are highly appreciated in year 1. It's strategic business plan, Tom will explain you why, and we have professional development and mentoring. Since during your year 1, you are here with a full room of students, so it can be quite massive, or it can feel like, oh, I'm just 1 out of 600. But be aware, we also have classes in smaller sizes that we call workshops, but you also have a mentor, and that group is even much smaller. Tom, can you tell something about strategic business plan?
Yeah, so strategic business plan is a really important course, but first let me explain a bit more about myself. I'm Tom, I'm 19 years old, and I'm currently in my 2nd year of IBA, so I've just gone through all these courses that Luke mentioned, and of course also the course Strategic Business Plan, so we'll focus on that now. The course is special for multiple reasons. I put 2 here on the slides: team collaboration and putting knowledge to the test. Team collaboration is really important because you're working in a team in this course. This happens often in IBA, where you have a team project, but this course is also special because it goes longer than most courses that go 6 to 8 weeks. This course goes actually a full semester, from winter until summer, and so you work very closely with your team for quite a long time, and you have to collaborate with them, do brainstorming sessions, do many meetings with them, and yeah, structure your work together, so that's really important. Also, this course doesn't have any exams. That's really special. Every other course in IBA mostly has exams, but this one does not. It's purely submission-based, so it's really special if you're not really a fan of going to the exam center. And the most important reason, I think, is putting knowledge to the test, because in this course, you work with a real company, and not just any company that that RSM provides you with, that everyone works with, a huge multinational. No, you yourself and your team reach out to an individual company that only you work with, so a company that none of the other teams work with. And these companies can come from anywhere. But the idea of the whole thing is to provide the company with a strategic business plan, some consulting advice for the company, how they can structure their business better, how they can improve their operations a bit. And that's really a lot of responsibility in the first year. So in winter, the course begins with your team first doing the outreach. So you reach out to companies, trying to make them collaborate with you. And once you find a company like that, that can be a company from Rotterdam here, but also anywhere else in the Netherlands, but also outside of the Netherlands in Europe, in Germany, France, Switzerland, or Spain, where my company was from. It was Gastronomic, a Spanish caterer. And once you've gotten them to sign on and collaborate with you, that's where the real fun starts. Because now you will do a deep dive into this company. You will look at their financial statements, internal strategic documents, maybe some documents for marketing, human resources, and you'll also can also meet with people from the company. So you can meet with the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, or also competitors or customers if you can get your hands on them. And so you get a really broad view of the company and really in-depth view as well of the company. And you combine that with the courses you've already studied. So in the first year, you have some marketing management, accounting, and you can combine your learnings from that with the research you've done, do some additional research, and then combine all of that into some presentations that you do and some submissions. And these presentations you will hold in interactive seminars with other groups, but also a teaching assistant who will ask you questions about your ideas, so you see maybe where there's some points that you haven't really thought of yet, and also give you some feedback on how to improve your ideas. And after you've gone through multiple cycles of this, you will have a final report, a final strategic business plan, and of course you'll submit it to RSM for grading. But you'll also crucially give it to your company and the people you've been in contact with at the company. So maybe the CEO or CFO will read your business plan and look at your advice and maybe take some inspiration from that, how to change the company. So maybe they know, okay, we need to watch out more for this threat, or capture this opportunity more, or focus on this key strengths. So you have a lot of responsibility there in your first year already, where you have not had that much experience yet, but you're really getting put out there, and you learn a lot from that. Because before this course, I didn't know how to contact a company, let alone interview the CEO, but now I've done it, and it's a very steep learning curve, and you have a lot of fun with your team. And so if you're planning on studying IBA, really look forward to this course, because it's very special and very important, because you can learn a lot from it. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. And indeed, we hear from not only from Tom, but from many students that really like it to apply everything they've learned in year one directly into a company. Then on a serious note, in IBA, but it is at the whole university, so at Erasmus University, we have a system which is called binding study advice. A lot of universities have that in the Netherlands, binding study advice, but we are very strict at Erasmus University. At Erasmus University, we expect that it's normal that you finish your first year in 1 year. But that also means you need to pass all your courses in year one. Therefore, I think it's important to know to take this into account when you start here, that you directly have to plan your work, etc. It is a challenge. On the other hand, I have to say that in our IBA program, more than 90% reach this without any issues. So it is doable. It's not something which is impossible, but we have help. So whenever something doesn't go as planned, you can go to study advisors. There can be personal circumstances. Then, of course, we don't expect you to finish all the courses, etc. But be aware that also when you start here, etc., and when it doesn't go as planned, just reach out to our study advisors, etc., and we will help you. And we, of course, also have the mentors. But be aware, I think the last sentence, which was on this slide, I thought that holds for whatever study you do. Just always try to go to your exams, so it's not something special for IBA program. Then in year 2, we dive deeper in all these functional domains. So you again get courses which work on all these domains. So here are some examples: human resource management, supply chain management, business law, etc. 2 special courses I want to mention in year 2. The first one is technology management. So what I really like about that course in our program is that at the end of year 2, there you're going to collaborate with students from TU Delft. So then you're going to work together with engineers on projects. So that's a very cool program. And we have, Tom just finished this course, if I'm right, it's business simulation. And now you don't give advice to a real company, but you as a team own a simulated company, and you will get into some competition. You have every day you have to make decisions, and then it's a kind of competition amongst teams, etc. So that's also a very nice course. Then I hope after these 2 years, you know your passion. I hope after these 2 years, you know, maybe I like supply chain management, or I like finance, or I like accounting. Since then, you have to make choices. In year 3, there are a lot of choices to make. And your year 3 is, let's say 2 semesters. So the first part, you have 30 ECTS, which means half a year, since there are 60 in 1 year. You can choose yourself what you want to do. And you have a lot of options. You can go on exchange, you can go on internship, you can take minors, and minors are here at Erasmus, Delft, so the Technical University of Delft and Leiden University. Or you can follow electives here. So a lot of things you can choose. And then the second half year, we will, you again have some options to choose, and that's a track, so as we call it kind of specialization track, and the tracks we currently have are here. So examples of electives are digital business, organizational and social movements, macroeconomics. We have, I think, 18 electives at the moment. The track modules, so within the track you have 2 courses, and you see an asterisk there, and I think I say something, yeah, my role as academic director is to continuously improve our program, and that means that sometimes these courses will of course change, and I think since the program is closed, submission is now closed for the next academic year, so the ones here are interested for starting the study in September 27, so meaning you are in year 3 in 29, then you are in your start of year 3. Yeah, so 3 years from now, of course, there can be new developments. I think 3 years ago, we couldn't have imagined that we would have courses about AI in business yet. So yeah, we always keep in mind what is relevant now. Then in year 3, you also have some courses around research. So you see advanced research skills, method masterclass, and bachelor project. In a lot of other universities, you have the bachelor thesis. We here have a bachelor project in the team. And a very nice course, which is called International Business the Dutch Way. So you have learned a lot in your program about international business and global business, but now also what makes the Dutch multinational company special. You learn here about Dutch history in multinational business, etc. But also what are the particularities of Dutch business. As said, we have an exchange program. We have 400 students per year going on exchange. They choose in that option to go in the fall of the 3rd year on exchange. In Europe, these are the most chosen schools. So Bocconi is the number 1. And if you go worldwide, it's about, yeah, you see people going to the US, to Singapore, etc. There are also other ways to personalize your program already earlier. So as said, in year 3 you have the options, but you could, for example, go for a double degree with philosophy. There are also sessions today about that, if you want to do that. So then maybe it might be a good idea to go there. We currently have a honors program in year 2 where you can dive deeper if you want. And there are many other opportunities. And if I'm right, Tom wants to say something about what he did in his first year and maybe the beginning of his second year.
Yeah. So, of course, studying, going to university is a lot about sitting in classrooms and studying in the library, but there's also other things that you can do at the university, and RSM offers a lot of opportunities there, or Erasmus University in general. There's, I would group the extracurricular activities into 3 main groups. So the academic and career-focused ones, the sports, and also the social activities. And starting with the academic and career-focused ones, there's really many options. There's some consulting groups, there is financial associations, investment groups, but really one that sticks out there is the RSM Star Case Club. I was also a part of this, and they're really special because they're supported by RSM, and in the Case Club you solve cases, so business cases for companies, but it's more in a competition setting, unlike the strategic business plan, for example. So here you have a case from Coca-Cola and they want to expand into a new country, and then you have to solve this, and you have like 6 to 12 or 24 hours to do this and build a presentation, and then at the end you present to judges, and they judge your presentation and your ideas, and so it's a competition setting where other teams go. And what's really cool there is that these competitions are not just here in Rotterdam, they're everywhere in the world. So last year, some teams from the Case Club won competitions in Thailand. I think 2 weeks ago, there was one team in New Zealand, and very soon there's another team going to Copenhagen, I think. And so there's it's really a great opportunity to internationally test your skills and advance quickly, because these competitions are very renowned and really impressive when you go there and can solve cases for big companies. So it's really interesting. But also for sports, there's many options. I played field hockey back in Germany, and so I joined the Field Hockey Association here in Rotterdam, where you play every Monday some games, but there's also not only field hockey. There's tennis, there's football, there is volleyball, swimming. So for anyone who's doing a sport, there's probably an association here. We also have an amazing sports center here with courts, and so you can really do that, and it's quite affordable for students. When you come here as a student, your budget might be a bit more constrained, but these sports are really affordable, and it's a great opportunity to meet new people as well. If you're thinking, okay, how will I find new friends in a completely new environment where I maybe don't speak the language as my first language. I don't speak Dutch yet, and meeting people in English is really convenient in these associations. So for that, you can also have the social associations. There's also many options. The biggest one for RSM is definitely the Star Association, and they organize a lot of different things. You can see here some pictures. I was on the freshman weekend. Maybe you'll see me in the small picture of these 4. But I was also on the Star ski trip, and it's also a great opportunity to meet people which you otherwise wouldn't have met, because they have maybe different interests than you, but you both like skiing. And so you go on the ski trip together, and there's a lot of activities, skiing together, of course, dinners, and many other things. There's also other social associations, such as Erasmus Student Network, which hosts parties every Tuesday. That's maybe more for the students and not so much for the parents. But so if you go here, there's a lot of things to do outside of studying. So studying here is not only about sitting in the library, it's also about having a lot of fun outside of that. And I can say it's a lot of fun, and you're quite busy with doing all that next to your studies. And so really look forward to that. And if you come studying here, have fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And I think this is really important. And it's not because I'm academic director, I would say only do activities there. No, I'm also happy if you do sports or so say. Sports is healthy. When you come and studying here, do these things. I think it's very important, or even if you go and study somewhere else, joining these associations, it brings growth to yourself, to your personal development. I think since also you can be active, you can become at a certain moment a member of this of the management team of these sport clubs, since they are all run just by students. So, but also just for fun, etc. Wherever you go, do these things. It's very important. RSM, a little bit about the learning environment. This is just what it is. I don't like it to say all the time, oh, we are top school, but yeah, internationally we are seen as a top business school. But what I really like about the school is that we are really international. So when we look at our student population, I'm so happy that we have like more than 50 nationalities, and that makes it really special. And I think Tom already mentioned partly of it, like the IBA program is in English. We have many programs in English at the Erasmus University. All our master programs are in English except one, meaning that there are a lot of English students here, or a lot of international students. So also outside your studies, you will meet people, if you don't speak Dutch, you will meet people who speak English as well. What we really like to do is to bridge theory to practice. The example was strategic business plan in year 1, where what you've learned in the classroom, you apply in practice. And I think what we are also proud of is that because we have a good reputation, we also have top scholars here. So all my colleagues, we have a lot of international colleagues who do top research. So, and with this research, they create new knowledge. They get new insights, and they can directly teach it to you. So that is really nice. So you get the newest insights which you then can apply when you later have a job. This was also already mentioned in the short video clip we had before. So we really embrace the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and we truly believe that you can only reach those goals also via business. And how can we achieve those goals via business is via you, because you are the next generation of these business leaders, so you will have your positive change in the world. So via you, we can change it. We have a dedicated career center, so we're there, you have opportunities for mentorship program, they help you in CV writing workshops, cover letters, etc. And there are a lot of networking and career fairs where you later can find either your internship or maybe your future job. What is also important that there's also a lot of support available. I think it's important to mention. I said we are quite strict achieving those 60 ECTS. You can have challenges around that, but be aware you are not alone. And some initiatives are at RSM itself, so we have a great student advisor team. Some of them also walk around here today. So whenever there's an issue, or whether personal circumstances, or whether you are maybe a top sporter and have to go to the Olympics now, they will help you in how to arrange it. There's also, from the EUR, a student well-being platform. There's a living room where you can go when there are issues, etc. But that is more on the well-being part, but also on the onboarding and the orienteering part, we have help. So it could be helpful to join the pre-academic program organized by the university. So before you start your studies, we have some, let's say a program where we learn you what is it studying in Rotterdam, what does it mean, etc. Eureka Week, very important. Like I said, join these student associations, go sports, etc. Also, Eureka Week is like the first week. It's before you start studies. Is from the Erasmus University together with the city. It's to explore the university, to explore the city, to explore all those associations. It's really to get to know where you're going to study. So again, whatever program you pick, whether it's here at Erasmus University or all the Dutch universities, since all these university cities in the Netherlands have this kind of weeks, join these weeks. It's really important and will help you to have a smooth start. And for all international students, it's important to know that we have a kind of what's called a one-stop shop, which means in one stop you can do a lot of admin processes, arranging a bank account, health insurance things, permit, etc. So that you don't have to go to all these places yourself, but they come together at one place, and then you can arrange all your admin all at once. Having said all of this, you should think yourself, okay, is IBA now the right fit for me? I think it's the right fit for you if you really want to learn in a multicultural environment. So it doesn't matter whether you are here from the Netherlands or whether you are from another country. I think both you will grow internationally, because most students are international, are not from the Netherlands. So the majority is not from the Netherlands, so you really get this multinational experience. You want, of course, you should have the ambition or wish to work in these international companies, whether they are located in the Netherlands or abroad, or an NGO. Of course, you can also start working in an NGO. And I said, but you should always do that. You should be willing to engage in other things, like sports or whatever, because that just helps you. You should be good in time management and independent learning. So that is, at the university, it's important. You get a lot of freedom. We don't check whether you do your homework, whether you make the exercises. We just assume you do it. We don't check whether you've read something, we just assume you do it. We don't check whether you're sitting here in the classroom, we just assume you do it. So you should motivate yourself to do this. Be aware that there are a lot of really motivated students in IBA, so you should also be able to handle that, or to be in a group of peers who are very driven. Of course, you should be willing to have a strong foundation in all domains of business. That makes sense. And what you should be willing is to make your own choices. Some don't like it to make their choices. Some like it, there's a 3-year program and you tell me what I need to study. But no, your 3rd year, almost 3/4, you decide yourself which courses you follow. Of course, we help you in that. And I also think that after 2 years of study, you get more of an idea what you really want. But you should be willing to make these choices. Then for all people in the room who speak Dutch, it could be that you are doubting now between whether you want to study the Dutch bedrijfskunde program or the IBA program. And the most heard mistake is that they say it's the same program, but just the language is different. That is not the case. So be aware that there are really different courses in the program. So there are some courses which are really different in the IBA program than in the bedrijfskunde program. We have that in the specialization tracks in year 3, but also in year 2 and year 3, you have a course which is different from the other program. But also the highlights within courses which sounds familiar. You have in the bedrijfskunde program, of course, a marketing course, and you have in IBA a marketing course, but they have different focus. So the IBA marketing course focus on international business, where the Dutch also focus on Dutch business. So it's really a difference. So if you want to have this international career, then you should choose for IBA. If you really want a Dutch career or a career in Dutch business, then bedrijfskunde could also be a fit. Also in terms of entrepreneurship, that in bedrijfskunde we focus slightly more on entrepreneurship. In our IBA program, you can still choose to do entrepreneurship in your 3rd year, but in bedrijfskunde, it's part of the program. And I think the population is really different. Like, that is really an advantage. And I have to admit, when I was your age, and I also had to choose, I thought this English program, no, that's too tough English. Now I would regret it, right? Since it's not about the language, but it's about the people to work in this multicultural environment. And now as a teacher and as a researcher here at the school where all my colleagues are international, I think, I really missed something. I'm lucky that I now still have that with my colleagues, but to learn from all these different cultures, etc., and how business in different countries work, that is really a big difference. There's also one technical difference, and that is that for bedrijfskunde students, or for bedrijfskunde, you are always admitted, while for IBA we have a selection process. So a little bit of details about the selection process. We get a lot of applications, and I could say we just finished the application round. So it's the 31st of January, everything is closed. We know how many students applied for IBA program, and we can say we had a record high number of applications, so we are very happy with it. But I have to say we only had 3 more than the previous record, but it was, we can say it was a record. But you can imagine it is something like this, that 1/3 gets admitted. So we have place for 750 students. They get an offer. I will later explain a little bit more about how this works. Of course, there are some criteria which you need to meet. You need to meet the criteria, and what we learned from the past, if you don't meet the criteria, you will not get up in the ranking to be allowed to a program. So that is step 1. You really need to meet the criteria. And then there will be some ranking which is based on GPA, but for example also on motivation. So not only on your GPA, so your average grade, GPA is your average grade in your high school diploma. But also motivation counts. So you can apply to a program from 1st of October to 15th of January. Then after this, you still have some days to finish up all the details. But then everything is closed. Then you can still submit your math test or English test if necessary. We will make a ranking and we send the first 750 an offer. That doesn't mean that if you are number 800 that you will not be admitted to the program. I think it's very safe to say if you're number 800 you will be admitted to a program. Since I of course can imagine that some of you will also have backup plans and maybe in the end you think, I go for the backup. Since there's no guarantee that you get to this program, you will have multiple options. So some will say no. We offer them the option and they will say, no, I don't accept it. And then we go to number 751 and we give them an offer. There will later be an extra session which is completely about all the admissions procedures. And then, the latest at 1st of August, we stop with inviting new people from the waiting list if someone declines. Some practical matters which are also important to mention. Cost. Tuition fee is for most people 2,700 euros. And for most people, that's for everyone with a Dutch passport or an EEA passport. I think most in the room, because every country near the Netherlands is from the EEA region. I guess for most of you it means it will be 2,700, but for others it would be 14,000 euros. And it's 2,700, that's just because the other part is subsidized by the Dutch government. And they only subsidize for people with a Dutch or an EEA passport. That is the price, but the highest cost is the cost of living. You have to admit, if you study here, you want to rent a room, not a room. You want to rent a room. You need to eat. You need to pay, although it's cheap, your sports and etc. So this is a bit the expected cost per month. So most of you also take a side position next to this. So they work in the weekend in a bar or etc. And I think there are a lot of jobs you can do as an international as well. There are some scholarships, etc. But housing is the most important. So really, when you are admitted to the program, directly start looking for housing. Don't wait till August or whatever. Once you get this letter, you are invited. Start looking for a house. If you're number 800, you know you will be in. Start looking for a house. That might be smart. We have students here. You see them walking here. You can ask them questions, but it could be that later you come up with a question. You can always chat with our students online. You can even sort or select based on nationality if you want, so make use of these opportunities. And then I go quickly over this, since I also want to give you some moment to ask questions. Most of you continue in a master. That's also a bit what is expected in the Dutch labor market, that after bachelor you continue in a master. And we are proud that 58% stays at RSM, so it means they really like to stay here. But I'm also proud if they go to these other big business schools, the top business schools in Europe. Some take a gap year. We see a lot of people who want to do an internship before they go to a master. And some, but only very few, directly go to work. So it might be, based on your dreams, that this will get you one step closer to your dream job. And I now want to give you the opportunity to ask any questions you have. Are there questions? And there are people with microphones walking around if you want. And maybe the light needs to be changed. Yes, to... And you can also have a question for Tom. It doesn't have to be only for me about the program.
Probably a little naive question.
Yes. Yeah.
So you said in the numerous fixes that only the kids can only apply for 2 courses. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Oh, yeah,
on
that is that's in the Dutch system. So we cannot see whatever you apply abroad at other business schools. But in the Dutch systems, you can only apply to 2 Dutch universities because it's a central application procedure. It's a duo in the Netherlands. And there you can be registered only for 2 Dutch programs. So yeah, you cannot say I register for 10, I take part in 10 numerous fixes rounds, so only 2.
I see. So if this is one, then my son can choose one another, right?
Yeah, so you can go to maximum 2 Dutch numerous fixes programs at once. Yeah, that is. But if you go to also apply at Bocconi or whatever, yeah, that will not be no problem.
Yes, I have a question about AI. I saw you had an AI course, but is the content of the full IBA also taking into consideration that AI is changing the time management of people investing in knowledge that is not needed maybe in 3 years? It's more asking the right questions instead of understanding the details. So is that incorporated in the study?
Yes, so we are actually developing that. Everything goes fast, and sometimes it goes faster than we can develop. But we have what we call a so-called AI learning line, but that is embedded within courses. So now in the first year, you already get some core, or not a course, but a lecture and a workshop around AI and how to use it. But also in more and more courses, this will be taught. But it's not special course, the special course, a dedicated course, those are at the end, but it's within the courses that we work on this. But we really have specialists also who do research in AI and education, but also in AI and business for that.
Yeah.
Oh. You can ask the question, but the microphone can be brought there. Yes, you can ask.
Yeah, just to come back to the question of applying in 2 different numerous fixes universities in the Netherlands. On the opposite side of the street, there are your colleagues having economics also with numerics fixes. Does it count applying here and over there already as 2? Or is it Rotterdam is full one? Is already 2?
No, that is already 2, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi. So Tom mentioned that in the first year, the students are already working with companies, like making business plans for improvement. For 750 students, it must be a huge challenge to find 750 positions. I doubt that every single one would find 750 companies. What is the other option? Like, if you don't find a company, how do you help them?
So I have to be precise here. So first of all, there are not 750 students, since we also have 900 students in bedrijfskunde who also have to find a company. So we have 1650. But then to make it smaller, it's in teams. And then to make our life very easy, we just said, students, you're very good in finding your own company. And so we motivate the students to find their own company. So the students are looking for the company itself, and we help them how to achieve that. And in general, we never had a problem with it. So it's not us taking all these efforts, but it's the students doing it themselves. Oh. It's all, we always manage that. We can help, and it's always, we have not seen problems in that. Oh.
Hi, good morning. Could you elaborate a bit more on the class? So how many students are in the class, and how many hours is our class expected during the week at school, and how many hours of us individual work at home is expected?
Yeah. So the classroom, as I said, we have a limit of 750 students. But that doesn't mean that we start the program with 750 students. But that's always because at a certain moment we have to stop inviting new ones because it comes too close to the deadline. Since we can only invite the next one if someone says no. So we have approximately 600 650 students. That is this classroom size. This is slightly smaller than 650, or we have a classroom there which is like 912. So the lectures are with that size. Then there are some courses which also have smaller sized, what we call workshops. So I'm also teaching the math course in year 1. So for math course, we divide students in groups of max 70, and there are smaller classroom sizes where we do math exercises, etc. So their courses also sometimes have that. Some courses only have big lectures or videos to watch, and others have also small scale. And then you have the mentor is 20, right? Yeah, and you have the mentor group, which is with 20 students. In terms of amount of hours per week you are then here, I think it depends really on the period. With the courses in the beginning, it's a bit more than later, but it will be somewhere in between maybe 12 to 20, depending on the period. That the rest is self-study at home, so that you watch these clips at home, you make exercises at home, etc. So there's a lot of independence expected from you, that you are able to take your time to read all the materials, etc. But that is a bit the schedule. So about 12 to 20 hours, depending on which period you are per week in the class. And the rest, it's studying at home, or preferably, what I would love, together, right? That you are sitting here somewhere at the university and make exercises together. In the back, oh yeah. Oh, it's the last question.
Is the chance you get invited purely based on merit, or does your nationality have any influence in your chance of getting invited?
No, the answer should be no. Then, if I'm interpreting your first question, like it's not only based on your grades of high school, it's also on your motivation. So motivation also counts. So you also have to write a motivation letter, and that is also evaluated. So it's not only your GPA, but at least you should meet the GPA requirements. So that is at least meet the GPA requirements, but then it's also about motivation. Okay, then I want to thank everyone. If you want to know more about missions, our next sessions, on the door you can see all the sessions.
Sinds vanochtend zit Dennis op fitness. Hij is precies 1 keer geweest en hij heeft nu al het idee dat je het kan zien. Terwijl Dennis uitrust, werkt zijn lichaam verder aan spierherstel. En herstellen is hard werken. Gelukkig heeft hij aan zijn bouwstoffen gedacht. Zuiver.
If you really want to change the world, start in a small country with big ambitions.
I explore the transformative impact of technology and AI on businesses and individuals through research and teaching.
I do research that improves leadership practices across countries and industries.
We strive for a sustainable future for business leadership, setting the pace in every arena.
Here, more than 9,000 students from over 90 nationalities work together on global challenges. And we've grown to become one of the top business schools in Europe. At RSM, collaboration is a core value, and it's a place where creativity drives us. With a global network that exceeds 50,000 alumni, our community turns their goals and ambitions into action. We can all truly be a force for positive change in the world. Positive change starts in Rotterdam. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. If you really want to change the world, start in a small country with big ambitions.
I explore the transformative impact of technology and AI on businesses and individuals through research and teaching.
I do research that improves leadership practices across countries and industries.
We strive for a sustainable future for business leadership, setting the pace in every arena.
Here, more than 9,000 students from over 90 nationalities work together on global challenges and become agents of positive change. Founded by Dutch multinationals and performing research in collaboration with businesses, we have been developing leaders with innovative mindsets for over 50 years. And we've grown to become one of the top business schools in Europe. At RSM, collaboration is a core value, and it's a place where creativity drives us. With a global network that exceeds 50,000 alumni, Our community turns their goals and ambitions into action. We can all truly be a force for positive change in the world. Positive change starts in Rotterdam. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. If you really want to change the world, start in a small country with big ambitions.
I explore the transformative impact of technology and AI on businesses and individuals through research and teaching.
I do research that improves leadership practices across countries and industries.
We strive for a sustainable future for business leadership, setting the pace in every arena.
Here, more than 9,000 students from over 90 nationalities work together on global challenges and become agents of positive change. Founded by Dutch multinationals and performing research in collaboration with businesses, we have been developing leaders with innovative mindsets for over 50 years. And we've grown to become one of the top business schools in Europe. At RSM, collaboration is a core value, and it's a place where creativity drives us. With a global network that exceeds 50,000 alumni, our community turns their goals and ambitions into action. We can all truly be a force for positive change in the world. Positive change starts in Rotterdam. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. If you really want to change the world, start in a small country with big ambitions.
I explore the transformative impact of technology and AI on businesses and individuals through research and teaching.
I do research that improves leadership practices across countries and industries.
We strive for a sustainable future for business leadership, setting the pace in every arena.
Here, more than 9,000 students from over 90 nationalities work together on global challenges and become agents of positive change. Founded by Dutch multinationals and performing research in collaboration with businesses, we have been developing leaders with innovative mindsets for over 50 years. And we've grown to become one of the top business schools in Europe. At RSM, collaboration is a core value, and it's a place where creativity drives us. With a global network that exceeds 50,000 alumni, our community turns their goals and ambitions into action. We can all truly be a force for positive change in the world. Positive change starts in Rotterdam. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. If you really want to change the world, start in a small country with big ambitions.
I explore the transformative impact of technology and AI on businesses and individuals through research and teaching.
I do research that improves leadership practices across countries and industries.
We strive for a sustainable future for business leadership, setting the pace in every arena.
Here, more than 9,000 students from over 90 nationalities work together on global challenges and become agents of positive change. Founded by Dutch multinationals and performing research in collaboration with businesses, we have been developing leaders with innovative mindsets for over 50 years. And we've grown to become one of the top business schools in Europe. At RSM, collaboration is a core value, and it's a place where creativity drives us. with a global network that exceeds 50,000 alumni. Our community turns their goals and ambitions into action. We can all truly be a force for positive change in the world. Positive change starts in Rotterdam. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. If you really want to change the world, start in a small country with big ambitions.
I explore the transformative impact of technology and AI on businesses and individuals through research and teaching.
I do research that improves leadership practices across countries and industries.
We strive for a sustainable future for business leadership, setting the pace in every arena.
Here, more than 9,000 students from over 90 nationalities work together on global.
All right, good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Esther de Koning, and I work at the admissions office of Rotterdam School of Management. So let's just wait a few more seconds until we close the door. All right, so before we start, I would like to inform you that this presentation will be about admission and application for next academic year, as the current admission year already closed on the 31st of January. So if you wanted to start next September and you haven't applied in StudyLink yet, I'm afraid I will need to disappoint you. The positive news, however, is that then there will be plenty of time to prepare your application for next year. All right. The presentation will last for around 20 minutes, and after the presentation, there will be time to ask questions. So, the topics of today. First, I'll explain you more about our numerous fixes program. This is the selection method of the IBA program. Secondly, I'll give you more information about the admission requirements, including a self-check to see whether you're eligible. I'll give you more information about the selection process and how we make our ranking, and finally some information about the application process, including some practical tips. So, what is a numerous fixes? Most programs in the Netherlands have an open admission, meaning if you have the right level of diploma, you can start the program. Our IBA program is a numerous fixes program. It's classified as a numerous fixes program, and it basically means that we're bound by the rules of the government. You can apply for a total of 4 programs, study programs in the Netherlands, and 2 of them can be numerous fixes. So it basically means for you, there are 2 important things to remember. First is a fixed number of students, and secondly, fixed deadlines. So the first thing is a fixed number of students. So we have every year around 2,500 applications. So this year we had over 2,700 applications, and we only allow 750 applications to receive an offer, because otherwise the program would be simply too large. We're not able to manage 2,700 applications. We don't have simply space for it, or the study advisors, program management, etc. So we only allow 750 students to receive an offer. Secondly, deadlines. This is a very important thing to remember for you. It is possible to apply for a program from October, the 1st of October, until the 15th of January in StudyLink. So good date to remember, the 15th of January, the application process will close. Once you apply it in StudyLink, so StudyLink is the national registration database, you will receive a link to OLAF. OLAF is the online application system of Rotterdam School of Management, and there you will be able to upload your documents and submit your application. The results are published on the 15th of April for all numerous fixes programs in the Netherlands. All right, the most important topic of today is the admission requirements. So, we are asking for 3 things to be eligible. 1 is an eligible diploma. Secondly, mathematics. And thirdly, English. So, in order to be eligible, you need to have a diploma which gives you access to a research university like Erasmus University. So, for the applications with a Dutch diploma, the VWO diploma, this gives you access and not a diploma like the HAVO diploma directly. We have here listed a few international diplomas that are considered the same level as the VWO diploma. If your diploma is not listed, you don't have to worry because we have listed over 60 international diplomas on our website. So please give a look on our website, and there you can see whether your diploma meets the requirements. Furthermore, we're asking for an overall grade for this diploma. So for the Dutch VWO diploma, this will be for next year a 6.5. For the IB diploma, this will, for example, be 33 points, etc. So you will find those requirements on our website. Secondly, mathematics. Mathematics is a very important factor of study success, a good predictor of study success. So that's why this is one of the selection criteria for our IBA program. So we will have a look at both your level of mathematics and grade. So again, on our website, you can find your diploma and to see which level and grade we accept. So for the applicants from the Dutch education system, we're asking for at least 6.5 for mathematics A, wiskunde A, or a 6 for wiskunde B. So if you don't meet this requirement, so either the level or the grade is not sufficient, you can prove your proficiency by passing one of the tests. So we have several options for a mathematics test. So it's either a state exam in the Netherlands. So you do have to travel to Utrecht or Amsterdam for this test. Another option is that is the OpenWebcast test. So that is a test that is proctored. You can take at home. And that is a recommended option because it's very easy to register for it. You can prepare for it as well. You see the subjects of mathematics that you need to pass. You can practice, for example, with one of your parents or mathematics teachers for that. And we do need to have at least 75%. So if you don't meet the requirement for your diploma, it is still possible to prove your proficiency by passing this test. And then you do meet this requirement. The third requirement that we're asking for is English. So the IBA program will be is an English taught program, so therefore it is important that you understand and that you are able to express yourself in English. On our website you will be finding per diploma what the English requirements are. So for some diplomas it is sufficient to have a certain grade or level of English from your diploma. However, sometimes it is required from the beginning to already pass the test to prove your English proficiency. And then you can pass one of the accepted standardized tests, which is either TOEFL, IELTS, Cambridge, and we do accept as well language cert academic test and the Pearson academic test. So these are the options. yeah, what is important as well to notice that if you do not meet either mathematics or English, you will have time to pass this proficiency test and hand us the results before the 15th of March. So this will give us sufficient time to process all the results before the ranking is published on the 15th of April. So if you don't meet the requirements for mathematics or English, you have to apply before January. However, mathematics or English, you can still prove until the 15th of March. All right. So on our website, you can check whether you meet all those requirements I just talked about. So you can fill in the diploma name, you can find the diploma name, and then you can check to see whether you meet the requirements. If you do meet all the requirements, we do recommend you to apply. The first one is the diploma, including an average grade that we're asking for. Secondly, mathematics. And thirdly, English. So what is important to remember is that we do rank, and I will talk about the ranking later, but students based on their overall GPA, so their overall average grade. So per diploma, we're asking for a minimum average grade, and if you do not meet that, we recommend you to apply to a different program, because the chances of being selected is very small. In the past years, nobody has been selected that didn't meet the grade requirement. So if you don't meet English or mathematics, you can still pass a test, but an overall average grade, you cannot compensate for that by taking a test. Right. So, most of our applicants are currently in their final year when they apply. So they haven't completed their secondary school education yet. So the question is, which grades should I submit? Well, we make a distinction between applicants who have already graduated and so who have obtained their diploma, and students who are still in their final year. So applicants who are still in their final year, they need to submit their transcript of grades from the penultimate year. So this is the year before you have graduated. So for the applicants from the Dutch system, this will be 5 VWO. And the reason why we're asking for the penultimate year grades is that we want to assess you based on a completed year. And when you're currently in your final year, by the time of application in January, you haven't finished your final year. So I'm afraid someone didn't meet the grade requirements yet. So next to the transcript of grades, we're asking for your school to fill in a diploma statement. So this diploma statement, there's a format on our website that you can find. Your school just needs to stamp it and sign it. It states the subjects that you're taking in your final year and the subjects you're taking an exam in. So for some international diploma, you can choose like which exams you're taking. In some diplomas, there's no difference between the two. But this is important for us to know, because for some diplomas, you need to, for example, have an advanced level in mathematics to be eligible, and you need to take an exam in it. So if you're just following it in your final year, but you're not taking it in your exam, then you need to do the mathematics test. So that is why this is important. So we see, okay, these are the subjects you're taking. Especially for IB and A-level students, we do not accept predicted grades. So this is a question we often get. But again, we assess students based on their achieved grades and not on predicted grades. So we look at your penultimate year of grades. Okay, for the students who have already obtained their diploma, you don't need to hand in a diploma statement, but just your diploma, your final diploma, and your final year of grades. So those students are assessed based on final year, and sometimes including exams. So this depends a little bit per diploma. So on our website you can find more information about this. Most of the countries, they have state exams, so national exams. And some countries, like for example Belgium always does things a little bit different. They don't have national exams. So then you're only assessed based on your final year of grades. All right, so the selection points and criteria. We make our ranking based on 2 criteria. The first are the grades, and the secondly is motivation. So the grades are the most important. So this is your ranking number is decided by 75% of your grades and only 25% of motivation. So on our website you can find like the minimum required grades that we're asking for per diploma. So please have a look on our website to see what this means for your specific diploma. And it basically means if you obtain the required minimum, so for example for the VWO diploma, this will be a 6.5 from next year, IB 33, Zeugnis der allgemeinen Hochschulreife, we have at least a 2, and the French Bachelor Général, it's at least a 15. So this is the minimum that we're requiring, and that means if you have that minimum, you will get 1 point. And the more points you will get, the higher your grade is. The second admission criteria is, or admission, the selection criteria that will, in the end, make your ranking is motivation. So we're not asking for a certain format of a motivation letter, but it's rather simple. It's the answer to 3 motivation questions. So you can find this already on our website. And you will fill in those answers to those questions in OLAF, our online application system. So there you will get a few points for your motivation. You will get points from your average grade, and those combined will decide which ranking number you will have. If you have 2,700 applications, the best score will be 1. And the one with the lowest score, 0 points, not eligible for admission, will be on place 2,700. Okay, so this is how we make the ranking. I know this is a lot of information, so let me explain it to you. So to make the IBA ranking fair, we have created different tiers to make it easier. So there's 2,700 applications, we need to somehow rank them. So we have created different tiers. The first tier is that you meet all the requirements. So you have a diploma which makes you eligible. You have the overall average grade that you meet. You meet mathematics, both level and grade, and you meet the English requirement, both level and grade. So if that's the case, you will be placed in tier 1. If you're in tier 2, for example, your average grade is too low, you will remain in tier 2. So there's no possibility to move up. That is different for the different tiers. If, for example, you meet all the requirements except for mathematics, your mathematics grade is too low, you will end up in tier 3. But if you hand in sufficient test results for mathematics and you prove, therefore, that you do meet the mathematics requirements, you can move from the 3rd tier up to the 1st tier. So in the past years, and of course we are now in the full application season, so we haven't evaluated everybody yet that applied this year. But in the past years, we never came down to the 2nd tier. So meaning if you're in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th tier, it's very unlikely that you will receive an offer. Because out of those 2,700 applications, in general, on average, around 1,300, 1,400 ended up in the first year. So, meaning if your average grade is too low, the chance of selection is very low. All right, let me see if you paid a little bit of attention in the past few minutes. Who of you knows the deadline of registration in StudyLink? So please raise your hand. There we go. The 15th of January, indeed, correct. Very well. Okay, so then it's time to talk about the application process. So, what do you need to do when you read the admission requirements and you think, I meet all the admission requirements, I'm ready to apply. So, what is the first step is apply in StudyLink. StudyLink is, as said before, the national registration system in the Netherlands. So if you want to study in a university in the Netherlands, you always have to register first in StudyLink. StudyLink opens on the 1st of October and closes for all the numerous fixes programs on the 15th of January. So this 15th of January is the local time in Rotterdam. So please plan your application accordingly. I mean, we've had so many cases of students that said, okay, well, in my country, it's not yet midnight. Well, it closes. So we, as Rotterdam School of Management, we cannot reopen this. So please keep in mind, and just in general, there's no need to wait until January at all, because you either already graduated and you have all your documents ready, or you have not yet graduated, but then you don't need to wait because you're anyway assessed based on your last year grades. So if you want to prepare properly, just apply in October. Secondly, OLAF. So OLAF is the online application system of Rotterdam School of Management. After applying in StudyLink, you will receive a link to OLAF with your ERNA details, and this contains your student's number, and this student number you will use for the rest of your study time here. You can log in OLAF, upload all the documents that we're asking for, and afterwards submit your application. So we do communicate in general in OLAF to you. So we don't send emails to your private email address, but we send it to your OLAF inbox. You do get a notification in your private email that you received a message, but since that sometimes ends up in your spam, please check your OLAF inbox regularly in case, for example, you applied in October and we see that you missed a transcript. We can still, during the evaluation, send you a message, please. We see that, for example, you only uploaded one, if you obtained a French bac, you only uploaded one trimester instead of all three. We can still send you a message, and you can upload it. So please check your OLAF inbox often. All right, the deadline to submit your documents in OLAF is the 31st of January. So after registration in StudyLink, that needs to be done first. You will still have 2 more weeks to complete your application in OLAF. For some, it's needed to take a proficiency test in both English or mathematics, and then you will still have time until the 15th of March to hand in those results. So that gives us, as admissions office, still 1 more month to process all the documents and the results, and to make the ranking properly and to send out those results on the 15th of April. So on the 15th of April, you will know your ranking number. So the first 750 students, they will receive an offer, and they know they can start immediately, and the rest will be placed on a waiting list. You will have time 2 weeks to accept your offer in StudyLink. So if you, for example, have a ranking number 700, you can accept it or decline it, or you can wait 2 more weeks to think about it. But if you haven't accepted after 2 weeks or declined, it will be automatically declined. So the reason for that is that we have many students waiting, so you have to decide within 2 weeks. And otherwise it will be automatically gone to the next person on the waiting list. So this waiting list is quite large. We end up normally in around 1,250 average. So if you have a ranking number of 1,000, in general you don't have to worry, because it will be most likely that you will receive an offer based on last year's results. The reason for that is that we have applications from all over the world. They have different offers for different universities, and sometimes they decide indeed to do a gap year, to take a gap year, for example. So it is not that only those 750, the first 750 of the ranking will receive an offer, and that's it. No, in general, the waiting list moves quite fast until the 1st of August. Then it will be done. So it is most likely, if your ranking number is lower, around 1,200, that it will be only in July, August, that you will actually receive an offer. So be aware of that. We do update those numbers on our website on working days. We don't work in the weekends usually, except for today. So please keep an eye on our website. There you can see, if you, for example, have a ranking number 1,000, and you can see, okay, we're now at 998. It's likely that I will receive a ranking number, an offer for the IBA program within a few days. All right, so this is something I already explained. Next to that, once you have received an offer and you accepted it in Olaf, the next thing is to send your diploma once you have passed your exams and you have obtained your diploma. So this is the final step to make a conditional offer unconditional. So we do receive sometimes questions about this, especially after the exams have been made between May and June. Students calling us saying, well, I received an offer based on last year's results. Now I made my exams, and it turned out I think I didn't do very well during my exams, and I'm afraid that my average grade will be lower than the one that you're asking for. Well, I can in general reassure you, because you have already proven that you did very well during your penultimate year. So the ranking is based on your previous year results, and therefore you received an offer. So even if you, for example, as a French Bac Général, your previous year was an average of 15, and you receive your diploma and it's a 14.5, you don't have to worry. We won't withdraw your offer suddenly. So this is a concern that many students have. The only exception is for UK A-levels and the international A-level students, because this is a little bit of a tricky thing, and maybe I'm giving a bit too much details, but the A-level diploma is only considered equal as in Dutch pre-university diploma once you obtain certain grades, and that needs to be at least CCC. So if you turned out to be, during your exam, you did really bad and you obtained 3 Ds, I'm afraid we cannot offer you admission anymore. So this is because the level of diploma makes it that you're not eligible anymore. So this is the only exception, but for all the other diplomas, if you do a little bit less than expected or compared to previous year, you don't have to worry. All right, so finally some practical tips for your application. Apply as early as possible. As said before, we would still have time to send you a message once documents are still missing. Don't wait until the last minute on the 14th of January, because we've heard all the stories about Wi-Fi connections, lots of computers break down on the 14th of January. So please just make sure, apply on time. Secondly, read our website. Almost all the information is available there about the mathematics test, the subjects you need to have. The diploma, we have over 60 international diplomas listed on our website and exactly what kind of diploma we're asking for and the requirements. An important thing is as well never to cancel your application in StudyLink. Because this is the platform where you will need to accept your offer in the end. If you decide to delete your application, we cannot make you return in the system anymore. So please, only if you're 100% sure that you're not going to study in IBA, don't touch this application. And finally, be patient. So even if your ranking number is lower than the 750 first numbers, it's still likely that you will receive an offer in case you're still within the 1,300, 1,200 range. So it might not be that in April that you receive an offer, but maybe in May or in June or even July. So the 1st of August, that's when the waiting list stops. All right, very quickly, because these are very practical matters that I think in general you can find this information all on our website. Some information about tuition fees and scholarships. So these are the tuition fees that are for the next academic year. So for the year afterwards, they're not known yet. We do offer a few waivers for first-year students. So the second and third year, you will always need to finance yourself. So please check our website for more information. We do, as a university, apply for your visa and residence permit. So we have our own immigration office that helps you with that. And finally, housing. I'll keep it short. Housing is difficult to find. We cannot guarantee housing as well for our students. That is just not possible from our university, but we do offer some rooms on campus and inside and outside of our campus, and you can apply for that as well. It's mostly for students outside of the European Economic Area, and of course we're happy to help as well, because there's a housing office here at Erasmus University where we have listed all the possibilities for you. So thank you for listening to this presentation. There will be now some lovely student ambassadors that will give you a microphone in case there are still questions. First, to start with, I'll let the persons who want to leave the room first, and then we will start with questions in a few minutes. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so I'll ask everybody who wants to leave the room now, and otherwise, because we don't have that much time anymore. Just a general note. Downstairs, my colleagues Shirley, Maggie, and Toby will be there as well to answer your question. We are hiring them not only for talent, but as well because their names match so well. And after the session, there will be the student panel. But let's first, some admission questions are here. And let's try to ask a bit of a general questions as well, because we do have a live stream for students at home. So if you have a specific question like, I'm from Slovakia and I have mathematics B, does that make me eligible? You can always visit our website for that information or visit us at the stand, and let's keep it now a little bit general. So yes, please. Oh. Okay, okay, good start. No, no. Okay. So the question is, you didn't mention the European BAC. Yes, that's right, because we have over 60 diplomas listed on our website. That's a little bit too much for one slide. So please check our website. There you can find the general information about GPA, the 3 or 5 hours that we're asking for, and which grade, and the overall average grade. That is correct, because we don't enclose. So the question was, you don't receive the tier, but only the ranking. That is correct. So you only receive a ranking number, because that's too much detailed in the end. It doesn't matter in which tier you are in order to have your ranking number. So if your ranking number in 2000, you won't receive an offer. So it doesn't matter in which tier you are. You will always receive.
How can someone who applied on before 15th of January know that they need to pass an extra mathematics?
That you can check on our website. So you can see on our website whether you meet the admission requirements. So, for example, if you have the European BAC, we're asking for at least an 8 as average grade. You need to have at least a 7 or 8 for depending on which mathematics level you have. So if you meet all the requirements and you're in the first tier, then it depends on how high your average grade is in the motivation together, whether you will receive an offer. But in general, we can say if you do meet all the requirements, it is likely to receive an offer. It's, however, the higher your average, the higher it's likely that you will receive an offer. So if we're asking for an 8 and you have an 8.5, you're good. If you're an 8, you get 1 point. Then it's depending on what the quality or quantity of applications is. So you're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My question is about A-level application. Before we check the website, the minimum requirement for the A-level study is AAB.
Yeah, that is correct.
But you just mentioned CCC is possible.
Yeah, that is indeed. So the question is whether about specific for the A-levels. So this is so specific that I would ask you to come to me after the session, because we have the minimum requirement for the A-levels in order to receive ranking points. However, this CCC level is whether it's an eligible diploma or not. If you're below that, your diploma is not eligible, and that is according to NAFIC. And NAFIC is the Dutch Organization for International Education. So they define which diplomas makes you eligible or similar to a pre-university diploma in the Netherlands. So I wouldn't go into detail now, but you can visit me after the session and then I can explain it to you in more details.
Sorry, I just want to continue. About the motivation,
yes.
Do you only have to answer the 3 questions, or do you have to continue about writing more, a bit like a letter about your own experience? Or
good question. So the question is about motivation. Is it only the 3 questions that you need to answer, or you have to write an additional motivation letter. So no, it's only the 3 questions that we're asking for. So it is, you shouldn't upload an additional letter. If you do, because some people, they add an extra document, it won't be part of the selection procedure. So better not, because we're not looking at it anyway. So we're very transparent about how we select. So indeed, you need to meet the admission requirements, that is once, but the selection, the ranking, is made based on average grade, 75%, 25% answers to those 3 motivation letters. So extra recommendation letters from professors, teachers, etc. It's fine, but we're not looking at those. We're not taking that into our selection.
Okay. For example, if I have extra curriculum like participating in MUN, does that count, or?
It's very good for your general experience, I would say, but that's not something that we take in our selection.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello. In case of math insufficiency, it is said to take an, for example, OMT math exam.
Yes.
It is said that there's maximum 2 attempts.
Yes.
Is it per admission?
Per admission year.
Okay.
Yes. So the question was, if I have to take a mathematics test, there's a maximum of 2 attempts, and that is true. And that is the reason why it is, because the test is costly, and we don't want students that, for example, can do it again and again and again. No, you have maximum 2 attempts per admission cycle. We need to have at least 75%. So if you didn't, in general, we recommend you to prepare for it very well. So to have a look at all the subjects and indeed prepare for it with a mathematics teacher or one of your parents or a sister that is very good in mathematics. Prepare for it because it costs money, and it's already a waste to take it the second time. But we do take into account maybe the first one you were not prepared, so we give you a second chance, but try to focus on doing well in the first one. And if you don't pass it, then most likely your mathematics knowledge is not good, sufficient. And that's, I mean, it is needed as well to be successful in the program. So maybe you should then reconsider studying IBA. It's not a purely mathematical program, but mathematics is important. And we do notice that this is one of the courses that students struggle with the most. Yeah. Okay, I think we have to have one or two more questions. All right. Yes. All right. That we don't take predicted grades, I assume. Yes.
So there will be like 2 reports, if I imagine right, and we get 1 more in January.
Yeah, so the question is about IB, how we rank those. Well, we're asking for at least 33 points in the penultimate year. So we don't look at predicted grades, we don't look at the first semester of the current year, of the final year, but really and that depends a little bit per school, because sometimes there are 3 trimesters and a final note. Sometimes they only have 1 final note in the penultimate year. Sometimes they have 2 semesters, because sometimes IB schools, they work a little bit with the local grading. So that is, with IB, it's a little bit, we have to see how the grades are delivered, but we're looking at those 6 subjects, the core subjects. So those in total need to have at least 33 points. So, and
I'm just worried, like, first semester report not meeting the criteria, but second semester.
If that's the case, if we have 2 semesters, we will combine it. If there's not a final grade, then we will look at both the first semester and the second, and we will combine it if we have only 2. So this depends a little bit per school, how they grade. So there are too many questions, so I'll give you 1 more, and then maybe the rest can visit me after the session, or my colleagues. because we need to prepare for the next presentation. Yes?
Just for the IB, total 33 is the requirement, but is that spread amongst certain subjects other than maths and English?
No.
Meaning do you have to get like a 5 or 6 in certain subjects?
No, no. So the question is for IB, how we calculate the grades based on the 6 subjects. We look at the total of the 6 subjects. So we don't make a distinction between, for example, some students, they study business or other visual arts or mathematics, one subject. So we just look the total points of those 6 subjects. All right. Again, thank you for listening. I hope everything was clear, and we look forward to receiving your application. Now there will be a student panel, and I will be downstairs as well. Good.
global challenges.
Well, hello everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to this student panel session for the International Business Administration Program. Also for those who are watching the live stream, welcome. My name is Shirley Akkoord. I work as admissions officer at Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. So today's session, or this session, is going to be a bit more interactive than the previous sections. So this means you can ask questions to our students. Well, this is your opportunity to ask questions. Before we start, so you can ask them any questions that you want to, could be about the program, classes, maybe the campus, or tips and tricks on finding housing. If you have an admissions question, so for instance, if you want to know about the requirements, about your diploma, or whether you need to take an English language test, please save those questions for the admission staff. So you can come to me afterwards, after this session, or you can go downstairs to the stand where we have our admission staff. So those type of questions, please ask them to the admission staff. Other than that, feel free to ask any other questions. So it's about the students' experiences. Furthermore, there are 2 or 3 student ambassadors in the room with a microphone. If you have a question, please raise your hand and they will come to you with a microphone, and then you can ask your question. So I'll give the floor to our students, and they are the ones who are going to talk, basically. So could you introduce yourselves?
So, hi, I'm Anisha. I'm a second-year IBA student, and I obtained my IB diploma program. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm from Germany. I'm also second year, and I did the German Abitur as a high school.
Hi, I'm Juliette. I'm French. I'm also in the second year of IBA, and I did the Bac Français International, so the BFI.
Hi, I'm Rafida. I did the Dutch diploma, so the VWO diploma, but I did it bilingually, so also did the IB one, and I'm currently a third-year IBA student.
Okay, well, thank you. So let's start with the questions. Who has a question? Who wants to be the first to ask? Do we have somebody with microphone? No. Okay. Did you have a question? Because are there any student assistants here with a microphone? Yes. Oh, hello. Oh, you're over there. Okay. Yes. A bit blinded by the light, so sorry for that. There's one question here up front, but I don't see anyone with a microphone here. But oh, sorry. We'll get back to you later. Go ahead.
For the third year, there was an option to go for an exchange, US, Italy, or whatever. What are the criteria for that? And does the school help with finding an opportunity in other countries?
I mean, we are in second year right now, so we just applied for exchange, and RSM has many partner schools all over the world, and so you go through application through RSM, and they sort you through the partner universities. So you write a lot of motivational questions and record videos of your motivation, and then based on that they sort you to your preferred choices. And there's many different options, so you can go anywhere in the world. And yeah, it's working through RSM, so you don't have to apply outside the university, but RSM nominates you, and then you'll be contacted.
Yeah, so they also look at your grades from the first year, I believe, right? So if you're doing well in the first year, your chances are better.
And for example, I'm going to Hong Kong.
I also am going to Hong Kong, and so first year there's a minimum requirement for grades that you need. So you need a 6.5 average GPA, and for some schools you might need a higher average GPA. But after that, the motivation is what counts on the exchange sorting.
Okay. And what about you guys? You're not going on exchange?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to Singapore, NTU, and we had to fill in the application form with our motivation, and we needed to upload our... Well, we didn't necessarily have to upload our grades because it was already done by the system, but we just had to indicate which universities we had a preference of going to. And if you didn't necessarily get, your first choices, you could also indicate if you wanted to be located wherever in the world. So yeah, you could indicate what locations you preferred. So yeah.
And did you get your preferred places? Now I'm curious to know. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, some of the students are a bit unhappy because they didn't get their preferred choices, but okay. Other question. I see someone there in the middle, and okay, yeah, could you raise your hand again? Yeah, there it is.
For the Dutch people doing IBA, why did you choose to do IBA and not the Dutch version of, they call it bedrijfskunde?
So for me, I did TVVO, so I did my secondary school bilingually. And for me, that was a big reason to also continue university also in English, especially with a program like International Business Administration. It is very valuable that you develop certain skills and knowledge, of course, in English, and as opposed to bedrijfskunde, which is limited to Dutch. I felt like it was more relevant, especially because, you know, if you look at businesses nowadays, it's getting more and more international every day.
Yeah.
Okay, my question is also to the foreign exchange. How is this funded? In other words, are there any costs, for example, on the housing and university fees in the partner universities?
So it depends on the university. I know, for example, in Hong Kong, for both of us, we have a reserved accommodation, but I know for some places they don't have a reserved accommodation. But for the tuition fees, you pay the RSM tuition fee when you go in exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the tuition fee stays the same. You just continue paying normally, and then depending on where you go, some universities have guaranteed housing for international students. Our university in Hong Kong has that, but I think some universities in Singapore do not have.
Yeah, so for example, the one that I'm going to has, well, the option for on-campus housing. However, it's not guaranteed, but in most cases you do get it. But for example, in Singapore, there's a university called SMU, the Singaporean Management University, and for there, you need to look for housing yourself, because the university doesn't have any on-campus options.
And also, if you're going to Europe, you have Erasmus Plus, so a bit of money per month if you're going to in exchange in Europe.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Yeah.
What were your average grades coming into IBA?
Any specific diploma that you're looking for?
Well, especially for the Dutch, what were your average grades?
So for me, I think my average grade for both English and math was around 8. And as for the average of all the grades, so like my general GPA, it was around 7.8.
Yeah, so it's pretty high. Okay. But you don't have to get that high. I mean, for next year, it's 6.5 average in order to basically be eligible for a place. Next one. Who has another question for our panel? Oh, I see one at the left.
Question for Anisha. How was it the transition from IB to Dutch University for you?
It was actually quite doable in the sense that, like, we have a lot of academic writing, especially in the first year with group projects, and I felt like the IAs and the extended essays, they really helped me out when it came to like writing academically and doing research. And also, I think it helps to note that in IB you do a lot of self-study as well, which is something that is reflected here in IBA. So I thought the transition was quite smooth, combined with, like, you know, the pre-academic program that the RSM and Erasmus has to offer. It's all just sort of went quite smoothly. I would say definitely the first block was a lot harder than the following blocks because you're getting used to like a new environment. But besides that, it was quite a smooth transition, I would say.
Thank you.
And what is the experiences for you guys? I mean for you three?
Coming from Germany, it was quite different because you have a lot of mandatory classes in Germany. I mean, you have to have your whole school day, and here it's not. There's not so much mandatory day from 8 to 4 p.m. So there's a lot more self-studying going on, and it was quite different, but I think doable to get used to. You have the first block, which might be a bit more challenging, but afterwards, I think it gets, when you have a little bit of a system, it gets quite doable, and you have a lot of time outside to manage your studying, but also to manage things that are outside of university, so some sports or other extracurriculars.
Yeah, coming from a French baccalaureate too, it was the same thing as you, I think. It was a bit difficult at the start because you have to be really to have a lot of autonomy, discipline, and you really have to do a lot of self-study compared to high school. But it was really doable because there's everyone to help you. You're doing a professional development course where you have a mentor, and I know that I asked my mentor a lot of questions if I needed help or something. So it's also really doable for me.
So for me, coming from the Dutch VWO diploma, the biggest difference was, of course, as well, that you don't really have that many classes anymore. Because, of course, in high school, you're used to having classes every day for like 8 hours. And in IBA, that is very different, as self-study is a very big part of it. So it took me some time to adjust to that. And then also more specifically for the Dutch diploma, as in Dutch secondary schools, the focus is more on answering open-ended questions. Whereas in IBA, most of the exams are actually multiple choice or like close-ended questions. And I did kind of realize that the way that you study for those exams is definitely different. So it just takes some time to adjust to that, but it's definitely not as big of a change as it seems like in the beginning.
Okay, thank you. Who's next? I see one over there and the right. That means my right side.
So what made you choose this program, apart from other programs?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why IBA?
For me, it was, of course, the ranking was the first thing that got me to look really into at the university, going through the university rankings in Europe. But then I think the internationality really is a big thing. I think many universities say it, but I feel it. Like my friends are from all over Europe and outside of Europe as well. Some are from Asia, America, and you really see that. And other universities I was considering in the Netherlands were much more either Dutch or more German. And coming from Germany, that was not really a priority. And so I think there's like my friends, I don't know, like 2 of them have the same nationality outside, and the other ones don't. And that's, I think, what's really special about IBA. And you don't have that in many other bachelors.
Yeah, for me, it was for 3 things: the international environment, also the ranking of the university because it's really good, and then also because it gives you a wide choice of careers after. It's really a general program, and I know that I didn't know what I was going to do in life, so I really wanted something really general. And so now we're focusing on marketing, on finance, and everything, and it's really interesting to really dive through every subject and really see where you fit.
What I really enjoyed about, or why I chose to go to IBA is because how hands-on it is. You get to work with companies from your first year, so it's you sort of get used to the workplace or understand how businesses work firsthand, which I thought was really nice about RSM.
For me, it kind of sums up everything that the other students have said as well. So it's definitely truly an international program. Like the others said as well, the friend groups that you make and the groups that you end up in are very, very diverse. And in a way, this is also a very valuable experience, as this also teaches you how to work with people that come from sometimes a completely different background, because sometimes you would expect that things are very general, or you would assume that everybody thinks certain things are normal or certain things go a certain way, but then you realize that it's actually has a lot to do with your nationality. So I think that's definitely also a very valuable experience to learn how to navigate through that, and it can also be very valuable, of course, later in your career. And then another reason for me why I decided to study IBA at RSM is, of course, also because it is in Rotterdam, and this city has a lot of opportunities, career-wise, and also for students. There is many opportunities, for example, to do certain working students positions or internships next to your studies.
Okay, thank you. Clear. Anyone else with a question? Over there on the left. Yep.
Hello. So my question is employment after you graduate. What kind of job can you get with this degree? I think Julia mentioned that she's doing marketing on finance. And my question is, why didn't you choose a special degree like a financing or marketing? Why it's so vague?
IBA prepares you for a career in management, firstly, but you can also do consulting, you can also go in finance, you can basically do everything in business. So it's really general, so that's why I chose it, because I like the fact that we can choose after what we want to do. So in master, we're going to go more in depth, I don't know, in marketing or in finance. It depends, so yeah.
I think that's really also for me. Many people in the Dutch labor market expects people to do a master's, and 5% I think of bachelor students or IBA students only start working after their bachelor. So IBA gives you a very diverse set of skills, and I had no idea what I wanted to do, but now I know that I kind of want to go in the consulting direction, and so for me it was really helpful to find what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And if I had chosen, I think for me it was better to choose this than, for example, choosing finance, as you mentioned, because there I would have been constrained to the bachelor I was doing and to the specialty I was doing, and it would be more difficult to find out what other things I might enjoy or might not enjoy. And so I think if you are unsure of what you want to do, IBA is a very good starting point to find out. And then for your masters, because most people have to do it anyways, you can really specialize a lot more and do a finance master, a marketing master, and really see there where your specialty lies.
And also in like the third year, if you're worried about like IBA being too broad, in like the second half of the third year, you get to like specialize into a particular route if you want to like look more into AI, or if you want to do like stakeholder management or even finance. Like in the second half of the third year, you get to like specialize in that and write your bachelor thesis on something that you're very passionate about.
Yeah, so maybe I can tell a bit more about that, as I'm currently in my third year. So coming into IBA, I knew that I was interested in business, but I wasn't sure exactly what field I would see myself working in. So as the other said as well, IBA definitely prepares you. It like gives you an overview of like what the different aspects of business are, and so then later allows you to kind of specialize in something that you're the most interested in. So that is why I decided in my third year, so for the first half of the year, from September to December, I decided to do an internship instead of going on exchange. Because in the first semester of the third year, you have three options. You can either go on exchange, you can do an internship, or you could do a minor. So I chose for an internship because I wanted to see what it is like to work in a certain field. So I did an audit and assurance internship, so that's related to accounting. And this definitely did help me to kind of know what I would like to do, and would also really did help me to choose a master's and even a future career path. So I definitely think that this flexibility within the program, especially within the third year, definitely also helps you and prepares you for like, I don't know, kind of like a step towards your career. And as Anisha also mentioned, in the second half of the third year, you can choose between 3 tracks. So it's accounting and finance, AI for a connected world, or stakeholder management. And yeah, when you choose a different track, you also get courses that go with it, and you also write a thesis on that topic. So the third year is really all for like personalization and going more towards a specific career.
Okay, thank you. So there's a large variety of master programs you can choose after you've completed your bachelor. So plenty of choice and time to think about it during your bachelor as well. Next question. Oh, there's one on... Oh, okay, well...
Well, hopefully
and then it's difficult to see for me because I can't.
Hopefully it's a fun question. Other than studies and work internships, what else is there to do? Social life, clubs, hobbies? Share a little bit more what you do outside of studies.
If you, I think after this lecture there's another one, and after that there's a general introduction to IBA where I'm also talking about that topic. Yeah, I had a slide in that presentation, but there's like really a lot of things to do. There's academic and career-focused associations that you could do. There, so like the RSM Star Case Club, where you solve cases and go in competition. But there's also things like sports associations, where there's many of them. I play field hockey, but there's also tennis, swimming, volleyball, anything you can do. But also social associations, which, yeah, you might go on trips with STAR. So I went on the ski trip or the freshman weekend. So there's a lot of things to do. And not only that, I just did 3. And there's many more. I think Juliette has done some others than me.
Yeah, for example, I'm doing climbing. I'm also dancing. But also for associations, I'm in a startup, so it's really, really interesting. I'm also in a board where we're doing events for students, so party life and everything. It's really, really fun also. I'm also an ambassador, so we're here. And I'm also consulting for NGOs, and you're also doing this too. And it's really interesting because we're in a team of 5 students, and we're really working with an NGO and consulting for them and telling them maybe what they can improve in their strategy and everything. So yeah, there are a lot of associations and interesting things that you can do besides of your studies. In my first year, I also joined STAR, so they are also outside. You can also talk to them. It's the biggest study association in Erasmus, or in RSM. And I did the activity team for active members, so I organized events, I organized the gala, I organized the weekends, and it was also really interesting to see all the organization, all the budget, the finance, like, yeah, it was really interesting.
And also for like international students, if you're like feeling homesick or something like that, we have a lot of like cultural associations that, you know, can help you reconnect with your own culture and meet people who come from the same place as you. For example, you have like the Indian Association, you have a Chinese association, you have like a whole bunch of different associations to meet people from your own culture. So yeah, especially for the international students, that'd be really nice.
And IBA gives you time for this. You have time besides your study to do this. It's yeah, it's really interesting to do this.
And I would say, like maybe outside of associations, in general, the IBA cohorts tend to be very, very connected. So most of them form really nice friend groups, and they're usually down to do a lot of activities in and around the city. Of course, Rotterdam is full of fun activities that you can do.
Okay, so the key is finding a nice balance between your studies and your mental well-being as well, and do some fun as well. I think the one person on the, yeah.
What did you like the least about your study?
Oh, what do you like the least of your study? Good question.
I think for me it's easy. I think like I miss that we don't have a lot of small classes. Yeah, we have workshops. We sometimes have small lectures, but I miss the classes. That we don't have a specific group. We have professional development course where we have a little group, but it's not really all the time. So maybe I miss this.
Yeah, like I have kind of like the same thing. It's like it's quite a good course, and like I don't know like what necessarily like I don't necessarily like about it.
I would say maybe some courses that I don't like, but I mean that happens when you study anything. There's in the first and second year you have all of the courses are mandatory, so you cannot just choose different ones. So there might not be some after the first year you realize, okay, maybe I'm not into human resource management or not into marketing, and then in second year I have to do that again and dive even deeper. So that's something I don't like, but I think it's also good because it assures you. So if you maybe in the first year I was thinking, okay, I don't like math because the math course wasn't fitting me that well, but then second year all of the math courses are kind of more fun for me. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, having these courses twice and these mandatory courses. On the one hand, you don't like some of the courses. On the other hand, you have to try them out, and so you're sure what you don't want to do and what you want to do. So yeah.
Yeah, I think for me that would be also the same as Tom said. Indeed. Of course, there's going to be courses that you don't really like. But then again, it is, of course, better to realize that you don't like a certain course than realizing that you don't like something that maybe you already chose as a career. So I think that's why IBA especially is very valuable, because it allows you to kind of know and dive deeper into the different topics and different aspects before you actually choose it. So while it can be an aspect that's not so fun about the program, it's also definitely very valuable.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Yeah, there's somebody there in the middle, or up front as well.
To ask, how is the timetable for the lessons arranged for the first 2 years?
So you mean like when the classes are, or how much?
For example, how many classes do you have in a week, and like how long for each class?
So the classes are usually 1.5 hours long. and a 15-minute break in between, and they go from 9 a.m. Is usually the earliest class, and then the latest class can be 5 or even 7, but that's quite unusual. And I would say, because you usually have like 3 subjects per block at the same time, so I would say there's maybe 1 to 2 lectures per subject a week. So you might have 6 classes per week, which are 1.5 hours each, and then for some of the classes you have also additional workshops that are sometimes mandatory, sometimes optional for extra training. So for math, there's extra workshops where you can solve the problems. For statistics, there's some extra workshops. So I would say there's a bit more than these 12 hours of lectures. But after that, it's a lot of self-studying. So you spend you can arrange your time yourself, and if you want, you can in between classes go into the library and then have the afternoon or like freer, or you can say, okay, I only go to the class and then study in the afternoon. That's really up to yourself.
Yeah, it depends on the students, but it's mostly 20 hours, around 20 hours of self-study per week.
And it also, I think, really depends on the block as well, because in some blocks you have more classes than others, because we have some courses that you just have to watch like online clips and then do quizzes at the end. And then you have like Q&A sessions sometimes, which are like, and it's important to keep in mind that most of these classes are not mandatory. So, you know, if one week you can't show up for something, for some reason, like it's not mandatory, but it's highly recommended. And that way, like you can stay on track, but it really depends on the block as well. Sometimes we have it all online. Like for example, in the first year we had the third, like first half of the third block was all online. So it really depends.
Maybe something that's also nice to know: Fridays are usually free of lectures, so you kind of have a longer weekend, I would say. Mostly the lectures are from Monday to Thursday, and Fridays are usually for like workshops. But this is of course not always the case, but more generally speaking, especially in the first and second years, the Fridays are usually, they don't have really any attendance on campus itself.
And also the lectures are not, there's not always mandatory attendance, so that's also a thing to know, and workshops sometimes yes, sometimes no. But for example, we have I Do class, and we have a mandatory attendance on Fridays at like 5 p.m., so that's also a thing to consider.
But this one is you apply for the class, so
yes.
you're not forced to do that. If you want to do consulting for NGOs, you can apply for it, and then if you get accepted, you kind of put yourself in that spot.
So we'll keep you busy, basically, during the week. Yeah, and there's 2 on those sides. Well, if somebody comes with a microphone.
I have a microphone.
Oh, well.
So I wanted to ask how the focus on sustainability is incorporated in the program.
So in our second year, we had this course called Responsible Business Leadership, where we sort of focused on the sustainability development goals. And I'll link this back to IB, because I felt like in IB we had sustainable development goals, which sort of helped me or gave like a leeway to sort of understand how they work. But of course, you go over them here at IBA, and especially with responsible business leadership, you're focusing on how to be a sustainable business and how to lead a sustainable business. So there's a lot of focus on being a force for positive change and sustainability. So
Yeah, I care also about sustainability myself in my life, in my personal life. And so that's why I also wanted to implement it in my studies. So that's why I joined a startup, and the name is Leafit. And we're also focused on doing some objects and products for sustainability, so against climate change and everything. So that's also a thing to consider, that associations, sometimes you can also implement it to have like sustainability in your studies.
I mean, every course has an SDG linked to them, a sustainable development goal, and it's really a big theme in many of the courses. So in finance, we had a lecture wholly dedicated to sustainable finance, and in most of the subjects, you will get sustainability somewhere. So there's a lot of it.
Okay, thank you. There's a gentleman here who also has a question on the, third row? Or do you have another question?
Another question
not
related to this one.
Oh, okay.
So, Tom, you said that the course does not have exams and that the assessment is based on the submissions. Did I get that right?
For the strategic business plan, yes, this is a very special course. But the other courses have exams. It's just this course that has no exams, and that's why it stands out. And it also goes much longer than the other courses. So if you attended the General Introduction, Strategic Business Plan is a course where you work with a real company as a group of students. You find your own company, and then you work with that and develop a business plan for them. And there's no exams in this course, and there's it's only submissions based. So you have multiple, I think 3 or 4 submissions that count towards that grade, but there's no time in the exam center.
Okay. Yeah, it depends because, sometimes on the courses, the final grade, it also depends on group projects. So sometimes it can count to 20 to 40% of the final grade, and then there's like 60% for exam.
So there is mix of both, right?
Yes, mix of both, but it depends on the subjects.
Okay.
Sometimes there are group projects, sometimes not.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there somebody with a microphone for this gentleman here on the 3rd row? Yeah, because he's been raising his hand for... Oh, here? 3rd. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. I have a question for Tom. You said that math wasn't your favorite. Was that linked to the difficulty, or was it you had interest in other things more?
It was... I don't know, to be honest. I think math is one of the subjects I spent the most time on, but that was, I think, also because it was one of the first subjects and one of the subjects that looked threatening. So I was like, marketing management, okay, I can somewhat do fine there, but for math, I mean, math is always, you need a bit of practice before you can get it down. And so I spent a lot of time on that course. And so I remember it more vividly of having to do a lot of exercises and a lot of practice there. So I felt like it was the most difficult one, even though it was quite doable. I did math in high school, and I think everyone who did math in high school and passed the minimum requirements is very well equipped to pass this course. It just requires some practice, and the practice was the thing that threw me off there, which in high school you were in class and then you had to practice anyways, but here you had to sit down and then you're thinking, okay, I could go hang out with friends now, or I do math, and that's then very painful. But yeah, it's very doable. For me, it was something that threw me off.
Yeah, and also with like the math course itself, it was done online, so we had to like do it in our own pace, and then so like I guess people can get off track a bit if they don't have like the motivation, I guess.
And a quick follow-up. Would you say that the workshops were a good way for you to further improve your math level?
I think it's always good to go to workshops. Many people don't do it. I don't know how many people only go to the workshops. Most people don't, but I always recommend if you do IBA, please go to the workshops, at least the first one, and see if it helps you. Because I think, especially for statistics, it was really helpful because the teacher, the prof, explained a lot about the subject there, which you wouldn't have gotten in the lecture. And many of the workshops are taught by the professors or teaching assistant, but they have a very well understanding of the topic. So even if you have a technical question, which I often had, I don't know, just like what happens if we do that, they can help you out a lot. And I think it helps to practice as well, because it forces you to at least sit down and study for this 1.5 hour workshop. And I think I would always recommend going there.
Yeah, as it's mostly self-study, it's also really good to have some time to ask questions if you want, and not to spend your time with yourself without any
or
answers.
ChatGPT as a
practice.
practice.
Or ChatGPT, yes. So yeah.
Well, you hear it from the students, go to workshops. Anyone else? I see a couple of hands over there. Oh, over there as well. Yeah, well, okay.
So related to the student associations, what were the activities that you found most interesting and most useful?
So for example, career-related associations or academic-related associations, I personally found networking events very helpful, especially when you can meet companies and do in-house days and those kind of things. For example, social associations, there's a lot of parties that go on, and also cultural events as well, depending on what association you're part of. So there's a lot of good ways to make friends and network with people, and I think that's like a very valuable thing.
I think also, if you're coming to study here, I wasn't able to go to Eureka Week. Definitely go to Eureka Week. And because of that, for me, the freshman weekend, which was organized by the Star Association, was really helpful. Like they organize a lot of trips. Like they have a Euro trip, they have a study trip outside of Europe, which last year I think went to Korea. And so there's very many things that are organized, and you can meet a lot of new people there. So I think there's a lot of events, and if you went to every event, honestly, that's very strong. But just like I think, try to attend as many as you can, because it's very nice. But of course, balance it with studying. So you have to meet the minimum requirement, the 60 credits for the binding study advice. Make sure you meet that. But after that, just try to get everything you can, because you're only studying once, and this is a very free and personal time. So.
Yeah, for me it was really useful because I met a lot of my friends from there. Like I know that in my IDO class we are a team of students, and I am friends with all of them, and I'm spending all of my time with them now. And so yeah, I think it's really useful also to have practical experience, and really not only learning but also doing business. I am in a startup, so I really know what I'm talking about, because I'm now like talking with customers, with real life customers, doing real life cases. So yeah, it's really, really interesting also for your professional life. It gave me so much, and I really recommend to also learn from this, and not only from IBA studies.
Yeah, so I would say that the more academic associations, they definitely help prepare you get some more professional skills, and sometimes even some working experience. Because I was, for example, in the second year, I was in the tech consulting group. So it's essentially an association where in a group of students you will consult a tech company. And this was very valuable for me. And we also had regular meetings with the CEO of this tech company. And I feel like you'll learn a lot from that. And it's kind of similar to doing an internship, for example. So it kind of does give you some work experience, but in a fun way that allows for you to learn. Another thing that is definitely valuable from the associations is the network. I think many people underestimate how important your network is that you build, professional as well as social. Of course, it's a very nice way to meet friends, to do fun activities, but it's also a very nice way to connect with professionals in, for example, the career that you later want to have. And it's also a very nice way to sometimes even end up doing internships of doing jobs that you normally wouldn't think that you would end up in. So it kind of goes for itself. And through associations is also how I found my internship that I did in the beginning of the year. That was, for example, through this association STAR, because sometimes they also organize speed interviews with many companies, usually also very big and famous companies. So that's also definitely a way to network and broaden your connections.
Okay, thank you. I see a couple of hands over there. Yeah, please go ahead.
Did you struggle to find a housing in Rotterdam?
The hot topic, housing.
I think for the first year, in the first year I lived on campus in the Zior housing, and I know many people that lived in the Hatta housing and also in the social hub, which is like the student housing that is close to university. The three. There's also the Erasmus International House, which is also quite common. These are definitely very nice go-tos, but they are quite pricey, many of them, especially Zior. And housing in general is very difficult to find. So the student housing is not guaranteed, and often only for first-year international students. And afterwards, you also have to find privately, and it's very difficult. So if you know that you're accepted, start early, and even if you have a house and you need one for next year, start early there, because it took me, I started semi-searching in March for my new house now, or my new apartment, and I found it in August when I had to move in September, and I had to give up my old apartment in July, so I had to store my stuff at a friend's place for the transition period, so it's really difficult. Start early and really be on, keep up with it, and don't just say, okay, I'm gonna look right now. You really need to follow up there and really do a lot. It's very exhausting. That's, I think, honestly, my most negative point about studying in Rotterdam is trying to find housing because it's very difficult. But I think it's the same in many other cities in the Netherlands and also outside. So I don't know if it's, yeah.
Everyone ends up with housing, so that's also a thing to consider. And also a little tip for me, it's to literally go on every website and also to keep in contact sometimes with the landlord. Sometimes they say, oh, I don't have anything for you, but you keep contact with them and at some point they will say, oh, I have something. And that's how I found my second apartment here, and it was pretty good, so yeah.
Maybe a different perspective to this problem. I decided not to move to Rotterdam, so I live at home. And for me, it's like around an hour. So the commute is an hour to the uni and then an hour again back home. And I've done this throughout the 2.5 years. And I would say that it is definitely doable. So that is also an option. For some people, maybe an option while you're looking for housing. But it's definitely not mandatory or a must to live on campus or in the city.
No, I also live 25 minutes from campus by bike, and I actually really enjoy it to do 1 hour of biking per day. So I also recommend, like, even if you're far away, it's also really nice. And I live in a super nice neighborhood, so yeah.
For like some Dutch students that may like not live like in the locality or like close by for commuting, a good website where you can get housing for Dutch students is Stadszone Rotterdam. They have like housing for Dutch students or international students. It doesn't really matter. They don't have any like requirements for you to get housing. So I think that if you live quite far away but still in the Netherlands and you want to look for housing in Rotterdam, that's a good option for you.
Okay, thank you. I think we have time for one more question. One more question I hear. Oh, lots of hands suddenly. First come, first served. I don't know.
I had 2 questions. The first one would be like, how much math do you have to do per week?
How much mathematics you have to do per week?
I think IBA is very balanced in that. So we have, I would say, roughly 50% qualitative, 50% quantitative courses. So 50% of the courses you don't really do any math, and 50% of the courses you do some kind of math. But I wouldn't say that it's really a lot if you're scared of math, or if math is like an issue. It's not. I think for me the most difficult one was the first math course, and afterwards it just builds up on that, and it's basically the same topics that get applied to different contexts, and it's not really that much high theoretical math. Maybe the most advanced stuff is like in statistics or in finance when you do options, but that's also very well explained by the professor, and you don't have to derive the function for options trading. In that you just apply the numbers, so it's very application based. So it's not that much, and if you do it, it's very easy to use.
Yeah, we can't really say how much per week, but there's at least I think 1 subject per block that's quantitative.
Yeah, and also like with adding on to what Tom said, it's basically you're sort of like. It's a step-by-step kind of way to solve the problem. So it's not like anything where you're going to be completely lost and you don't know what to do, because it really builds on each other and it's explained quite well, I would say. So,
and except for the actual math course in the first year, I wouldn't say that the math that we're using in the other courses is like actual math. Like it's not like you're solving derivatives in or doing algebra in every like course. It's more like a way to solve the problems, for example, that we have in finance and economics, but it's definitely not the math that you're used to in high school.
And if you prefer to do more maths, more economics, you can always check out IBA. It's International Business Economy of Business. Yes. So if you really want to do math, also maybe check out this program, and maybe it will fit you.
Yeah, it's from Erasmus School of Economics, so
yes.
not RSM, but the other
one.
And it's much more math technical.
Yeah, it's in
if that's your strength.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have to wrap it up. So any questions that you may still have for the students, they're still at the stand, so you can, go downstairs and ask the questions that you have. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for listening. Also for those of you at home, thanks to the students. Thank you.
Is the mic off? Oh yeah.
Age Perfect collageen-expert van L'Oréal. Om pigmentvlekken te verminderen en tekenen van collageenverlies tegen te gaan.
Nieuw Parano mozzarella. Maak het romig, maak het smaak.
Also the academic director of the Master Global Business and Sustainability. So it's my job basically to coordinate all the teaching, make sure the teachers do a good job, and to also keep you program if you want to pursue this master. Okay, so let's watch this video together.
Hi, what's up? So my name is Jordan. I'm 20 years old. I'm a second year IBA student, and I'm from a
all over the world. The study program is fully in English, but learning Dutch is a great way to integrate into the Dutch culture and work environment. You'll learn how to write business plans for real companies, research international markets, and negotiate with people from other countries. Deal. And internships? No problem. Rotterdam's got the biggest port in Europe and is home to lots of international companies. Plus, RSM has a dedicated career center that will help you put your best foot forward in the job market. The city is also perfect for not studying. Together with other students, you get to know about different cultures, go to festivals, sport events, and hang out at great places. When you have finished your IBA studies, you may have a friend working in marketing in the US, or finance in China, or maybe logistics in the UK. So you can get started, well, anywhere. Are you ready for business? Study IBA at RSM.
Hello and welcome to the RSM YouTube channel. My name is Malena and I'm currently in my first year of the IBA program. If you are someone who's thinking of applying for the following academic year, this video is perfect for you. I asked second and third year students to answer the most frequently asked questions about IBA. I remember when I was applying last winter, I had these exact same questions, so I really hope this video is helpful for you.
In IBA, we have a lot of time for self-study, which is really important. We have also lectures, which are with everyone from the course, and workshops, which are a little bit more practical since they are in small groups and you have more chance to interact with your colleagues and do exercises together. Right now, some courses are fully online, some are in a hybrid form, and some are completely in person. So it really depends. Since the year is divided into 4 blocks, so courses change in each of those blocks. So therefore the schedule and whether it's online or not really changes accordingly. Besides that, there's 2 very important courses in the first year. Strategic business plan, where you work with a company throughout the whole year, so it's very practical. It is also a team assignment. And besides that, we have PD and mentoring, which is professional development, and basically you're assigned to a mentor in your first year, which really helps you and gives you tips about the first year, and you can ask any questions you want. So that's very helpful, and personally I loved it.
So it is a big program, yeah, IBA. I think there were like 500 people in it last year, so you're definitely gonna be with a lot of other people, but they are trying really hard to make sure that you're not just a number. To my experience, in the beginning, well, I felt rather small, of course, but you start with a lot of group work. For example, in the first week you meet your PD mentor group, which is a group of around 20 students, and you have some classes with them, for example, about teamwork, so you get to know them really well, and it makes the university a lot smaller. In addition to that, you also have a work group, so to say. So for marketing management, which is a course in the first block, you also work together in a team to make the campus a bit smaller. Also, the university offers some support, for example, the student advisors who can help you if you're in a big conundrum or have a lot of trouble. So yeah, you are with a lot of people, but they are trying to make it approachable for everybody and not just a number.
So first of all, the most important thing is that you should be able to manage your time. It's really important to have good time.
You ready? New the Brow Glue Crazy Lift. Up to 24-hour lamination gel. Crazy lift, crazy hold. For lifted laminated brows.
So business is awesome, right? You can almost picture it. Working for an international company, or even starting your own. Maybe where you live now, or around the world. It could be anywhere. The possibilities are endless. But how do you make this happen? Well, study International Business Administration in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University, is one of the top business schools in Europe, whose mission is to be a force for positive change. One of the first business schools to formally adopt the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals as part of the curriculum, ensuring that the next generation of business leaders are driven to be part of the solution when it comes to facing our global challenges. And the best of all, it's affordable. IBA is a 3-year bachelor program. You'll follow courses and work on projects with students from all over the world. The study program is fully in English, but learning Dutch is a great way to integrate into the Dutch culture and work environment. You'll learn how to write business plans for real companies, research international markets, and negotiate with people from other countries. Deal. And internships? No problem. Rotterdam's got the biggest port in Europe and is home to lots of international companies. Plus, RSM has a dedicated career center that will help you put your best foot forward in the job market. The city is also perfect for not studying. Together with other students, you get to know about different cultures, go to festivals, sport events, and hang out at great places. When you have finished your IBA studies, you may have a friend working in marketing in the US, or finance in China, or maybe logistics in the UK. So you can get started, well, anywhere. Are you ready for business? Study IBA at RSM. So business is awesome, right? You can almost picture it. Working for an international company, or even starting your own. Maybe where you live now, or around the world. It could be anywhere. The possibilities are endless. But how do you make this happen? Well, study International Business Administration in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University, is one of the top business schools in Europe, whose mission is to be a force for positive change. One of the first business schools to formally adopt the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals as part of the curriculum, ensuring that the next generation of business leaders are driven to be part of the solution when it comes to facing our global challenges. And the best of all, it's affordable. IBA is a 3-year bachelor program. You'll follow courses and work on projects with students from all over the world. The study program is fully in English, but learning Dutch is a great way to integrate into the Dutch culture and work environment. You'll learn how to write business plans for real companies, research international markets, and negotiate with people from other countries. Deal. And internships? No problem. Rotterdam's got the biggest port in Europe and is home to lots of international companies. Plus, RSM has a dedicated career center that will help you put your best foot forward in the job market. The city is also perfect for not studying. Together with other students, you get to know about different cultures, go to festivals, sport events, and hang out at great places. When you have finished your IBA studies, you may have a friend working in marketing in the US, or finance in China, or maybe logistics in the UK. So you can get started, well, anywhere. Are you ready for business? Study IBA at RSM. So business is awesome, right? You can almost picture it. Working for an international company, or even starting your own. Maybe where you live now, or around the world. It could be anywhere. The possibilities are endless. But how do you make this happen? Well, study International Business Administration in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University, is one of the top business schools in Europe, whose mission is to be a force for positive change. One of the first business schools to formally adopt the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals as part of the curriculum, ensuring that the next generation of business leaders are driven to be part of the solution when it comes to facing our global challenges. And the best of all, it's affordable. IBA is a 3-year bachelor program. You'll follow courses and work on projects with students from all over the world. The study program is fully in English, but learning Dutch is a great way to integrate into the Dutch culture and work environment. You'll learn how to write business plans for real companies, research international markets, and negotiate with people from other countries. Deal. And internships? No problem. Rotterdam's got the biggest port in Europe and is home to lots of international companies. Plus, RSM has a dedicated career center that will help you put your best foot forward in the job market. The city is also perfect for not studying. Together with other students, you get to know about different cultures, go to festivals, sport events, and hang out at great places. When you have finished your IBA studies, you may have a friend working in marketing in the US, or finance in China, or maybe logistics in the UK. So you can get started, well, anywhere. Are you ready for business? Study IBA at RSM.
Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to this session in which I will share with you my journey here at IBA at RSM to the world. But before I'm starting to share all about my experience with you, I first want to get a little bit a hang of who is here with me today. So hands up if you know for sure you want to study some kind of business. Okay. Hands up if you know for sure you're gonna do that at RSM here. Okay, so I guess I have some convincing to do today in this room. Hands up if you're a parent and you're today here supporting your child in this amazing choice. Okay, cool, also a lot of parents. And hands up if you know you want to study in the Netherlands. Okay, nice. Nice to get to meet you all. I am Merel and I started my IBA journey here back in 2019, where I studied for 3 years in this amazing bachelor program. Afterwards, after I finished IBA, I stayed here at RSM and I started my international management SEMS masters, where I also did like a little bit of an exchange to Lisbon, to Nova School of Business and Economics. Well, also during my bachelor studies, I did a little exchange to Los Angeles in the United States. After I finished up all my studies here at RSM, I did an internship at L'Oreal, and right now, at the moment, I'm an account manager at Amazon. But before, I'm going to tell you all about like what RSM learned me and how it took me to my job right now or to all my internships. Today, I first want to take you to the program. And I basically want to highlight the whole IBA study in 3 different things. In my professional life, in my personal life, and in my academic life. Because RSM and the IBA program has a lot of things to give. But first of all, if I tell you all about the educational part here of the IBA program at RSM, I bet you all have all the different sessions in which they all told you about all the amazing programs and amazing classes you're gonna focus on and you're gonna do in the 3 years. But for me, what was really, really special in the 3 years I was here at the IBA program was like the practice-based courses. And what do I mean with that? First of all, in the first year of the program, you have the strategic business plan. Like you're a freshly out of high school student, you just joined your university journey and you're here like taking courses for 4 months, all the practicalities like from maths to statistics to more like an introduction to general business. And then already after 4 months straight, you're gonna ask, okay, find yourself a company and write a proposal for them. A proposal on how to do things better, like how to get their goals more efficient or how to improve certain processes. So me and my group, we found a recruitment company and we helped them to figure out what kind of recruitment projects they want to do. Like if they want to focus more on young people or if they want to focus more on adults or on 50-plus-year-olds. And I found it really, really special that only after 4 months into the program, after only maybe had 8 classes, I was going to that company and they took me seriously as a business student. And this course taught me a lot. Like it really taught me how theory compares to practice, because not everything that you learn in class, it's how it is in the real world. And being able in the second half year of my first year of the program to be able to go to a company every month and to learn from them and to write already like a strategic business proposal helped me throughout my whole studies to understand like what I was actually doing and how it would actually also help me later on in my career. But after the first year, of course, the strategic business plan is not the only practice-based course you're gonna taught. What also was a really cool course that stood out to me was International Strategic Business in the 3rd year, where we modeled the United Nations simulation. Basically, every little group of students was represented to be one country. For me, I was represented to be the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and we modeled kind of the UN in their sustainability agreement. And you can of course see that for me, being the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it was really hard because I didn't want to be sustainable at all. Like all the costs we had to pay as a country, I didn't want it. My best friend, they were the islands of Fiji. I never had a fight with her, but on that single day I had, because if I didn't want to agree on the laws that would pass, that mean that Fiji would be underwater and wouldn't be able to be there. And that course also really taught me that why it is so difficult to be in organizations like the United Nations and why is it so difficult to agree on certain things. And of course, besides all the educational things I learned here at RSM, there are also a lot of personal things I learned. And one really personal thing that stood out of me and that's I think really special in this program is the exchange. Like in the 3rd year, you get the possibility to go abroad, to kind of like broaden your horizon and to go to a partner university of RSM. And where, of course, there are like tons of universities out there to choose from. You can study business, but you can also study something else. And for me personally, I went to Los Angeles because I have a big passion for theater, musical, and dance, and I want to broaden my horizon and learn something about arts and about dance. And RSM really let you do that. Of course, we're still a business program, so 60% of the time, like, you have to study business, and I had to go to the Marshall School of Business, the business school over there. But for the 40% other of my time over there, I could actually study something that I'm truly passionate about. I could study like dance. I got to be taught by a dance teacher who choreographed for the Grammys, and I also got to follow theater classes by people who were in the production of Netflix series and of like the Netflix series Friends. And that's something that still stays with me today, and it's a super special thing to do. And second of all, what I also found really nice, and what was one of the main big reasons for me to study in Rotterdam, the IBA program, and not somewhere else in the Netherlands, is all your international classmates. When I was here, like, I think it's already 7 or 6 years ago, just in your shoes, like, trying to figure out what I want to study. I want to do like several things. I want to do from business to psychology, like wherever. And I was sitting here with my parents as well in this room, and then I can still remember someone who asked like who is international, and then like 2/3 of the whole room, they put their hand in the air and they were like, we are from outside of the Netherlands. And that was the moment I was like, okay, this is where I want to be, because I want to study with people from all over the world. And it's actually like some programs say that they are truly international, but this program actually is. Like I still have friends from all over the world. I can travel throughout whole Europe, North America, Australia, and there's always someone that I studied with. And that's also something that's still really valuable to me today. Like at the moment, working for Amazon, also an international company with not only Dutch people, like I learned already to collaborate with international people within my studies. I already figured out that someone from Spain works completely different than someone from Asia. And I don't have to learn that right now in my job, because I already learned it back when I was studying. And then, of course, there's the professional part. I think this is also a really important part, of course, because it's where you want to go after. And first of all, at RSM, and here also at the IBA program, you have tons of things to figure out kind of what you want to do after after the IBA program. First of all, there are 2 separate career weeks, basically. We have the STAR Management Week from our study association STAR, and we also have the Erasmus Recruitment Week, which is a collaboration between the study association of RSM, but also the study association of our economics faculty. And basically those 2 weeks, they help you to discover like what you like and what you don't like. Like a bunch of companies all come together to campus, like big multinational to small startups to government institutions, and you can just go there for a day, like figure out. For example, my first year already, I went to the L'Oreal headquarters. I did there an assignment and already got to understand what the FMCG industry is all about. Like in my second year, I did the same thing, but then for Ahold Delhaize, and like to be already able such early on in your journey, like I was only 18, 19 years old at the time and not thinking about working at all. But it really helped me later on to understand already like in which industry I want to work in or what I wanted to do. Second of all, what I also found special here is that the classes are also career-based focus. Like of course you have to read all your scientific journals, you have to know all your stuff, but besides that also every class has some company involvement, so to say. Can still remember in my first year of IBA that I was in an auditing, like accounting class, and that for the last 2 classes, like KPMG came into the room and they kind of explained to us, okay, now you've learned how to make the balance sheet, how to do profit and loss statement, but what do we actually do? And there I really learned like what auditing really means on a day-to-day basis already from year 1 onwards. And for me, then after year 1, I was like, okay, auditing, accounting is not for me. But it's really nice to already learn it in the first year, because otherwise maybe I would have chosen still accounting class in year 3, while I now could enjoy some other career or like some other classes. And last but not least, you have the professional development part. And when I came here into the IBA program, you have like every year, basically year 1, year 2, year 3, you have a specific professional development class every week with first like a tutor, like a teaching assistant, and later on you have like a master student or a professor who teaches that class. And in the first year, they already ask you, okay, you know this now, like you are here in Rotterdam, like what do you want to do? What is your, they call it your I will statement, like what do you stand for? What is important for you? What do you want to accomplish? And I found it in the beginning a little bit of intimidating. Like you're in your first year of study, like you have lived maybe your whole life in one place or like still with your parents, and then they ask you, what do you want to do? But like it starts the conversation in your head going, and you start to think, okay, what do I want to do with the life I have? And for me, my I will statement was, I will inspire, share, and love. And I still hope that I will do this every day. Like I'm here hopefully inspiring you to do something, to do a cool study. I'm sharing the information. I still have a lot of love for everyone out here in the world. And it doesn't stay with this, because the program is the professional development program is built in such a way that it starts, okay, what do you want to do? But then also we all know that there's something you're good in, something you want to do, and something you can do. So then it really starts, okay, like now I know what I want to do, but how can I do this in a professional way? And I found that really cool, like comparing to other programs, if I compare it to like friends in the Netherlands who start to study business somewhere else. And last but not least, RSM also, an IBA teaches you a ton of different things if you want to apply for internships or for jobs or for traineeships after. Like in the first year it was still fun to learn how to write CVs and how to write motivation letters, but like in the third year and still in my master's, everyone was sick of it because we heard it like all over again and so many times that everyone could dream how to write like a stellar motivation letter or how to set up a stellar CV. And while it sounds really silly maybe, it does make a difference to know how to do it in a good way and to know how to kind of like set yourself up for success. So then going back to my journey after IBA, now you've seen all the things I loved about the program in 3 years. Basically, when I finished the program, I came back from Los Angeles for my exchange. I finished up here my thesis and I was like, okay, what do I want to do next? And I loved RSM as a family so much I decided to stay and decided to do the International Management SAMS program here. And that program basically is kind of the same as IBA. It's also international management and also again with an international assignment and one part in Rotterdam. So I started that part in Lisbon at the Nova School of Business and Economics and ended here again in Rotterdam. Afterwards, I did an internship at L'Oreal, where I was the business development intern, basically. So I learned all about how to analyze the FMCG industry, how to build Excel sheets, how to see where the growth was going, and how to like act on it, basically with new business and value propositions they want to do. And afterwards, I was like, as I told you before, big passion for dance and arts. So I was like, okay, I know that I want to work in business, want to do something there, but I still want to do something completely else. So I moved to Barcelona to study dance there for half a year. And afterwards I came back and now I'm at Amazon as an account manager, helping the biggest brands here in the Netherlands to kind of scale and grow on Amazon and go abroad in Europe and also in the US. But basically, like one big red thread through my whole journey and also why I'm here back again today, standing here telling this story for you, is that in every step along the way, I always felt super supported by the RSM community, whether it was my master community or my bachelor community. Like before I started to do my internship at L'Oreal, like I knew already a couple of people there that also were from my bachelor program. I sent them a message on LinkedIn, like we hopped on a phone call and they basically told me all the ins and outs of what I needed to do in the interviews, but also what the job was really about, so whether I would actually like it. Like the same for Amazon, like before I actually accepted the offer there, I also hopped on a call with a friend that also did the same master program as me, and he also told me really like what the job was day to day, what I could learn, how I could grow, etc. And I think that kind of community and family that I'm able to still hop into and tap into every single moment, that's something super, super special. And I really hope that you guys will also become part of that group and that family. That was basically what I all wanted to share with you today and wanted to tell you today. So please let me know if you have any questions or doubts, then I'm happy to answer it all. Yes?
What were some of the extracurriculars you did?
Yes, so we have like different study associations. So we have STAR, but you also have the Entrepreneurship Association a lot. I did 3 different committees at the Study Association STAR. So first of all, I was responsible for organizing the IBA study trip, which basically you create like a study plan and you go abroad. You do there some company visits and everything. I also did an innovation committee basically where I looked, okay, like we study in such a way, how can it be improved? And we like gave feedback back to other professors. And last but not least, I was a student ambassador basically for the study. So throughout my study time, I called with like new to join students at the IBA program, and also a buddy like as a third year student for like the first year, just freshly here in Rotterdam.
So, if English is not your native language, how difficult is the course?
Really good question. To be honest, I went to a completely Dutch high school. Like I learned English throughout 6 years of VWO, but that was it. So I came here into the program and I understood everything. I could read everything, but speaking was really difficult for me because, yeah, that's not something you do, right? But like in 3 months, you are completely adjusted. And when I was visiting friends and family, they were always joking around, oh, Merel has become like this international person now because she cannot speak Dutch anymore. So I would not be afraid about it. Like in the beginning, it is intimidating, yes, and it's maybe a bit harder to speak up in group assignments, but after 3 months, like you will speak better English than Dutch. Any other questions?
So, hello. Did you have yeah,
okay.
I wanted to ask if you had like difficulties to find a living place here in the beginning of the Bachelor.
Yes, like getting a place to live is certainly difficult here in the Netherlands right now. I'm not saying that it's easy, but especially like for international students, IBA as a program helps sometimes with like good tips and where they give international students like sometimes an advantage. And you also have a lot of, I think they're on the website, sometimes like housing kind of apps which help you to get push notifications when a new apartment hits the market. Stackies is, for example, one. And you also have like the student hotel here in Rotterdam, which where a lot of exchange students live. So like the rooms reallocate kind of fast, like every 6 months. So there's also some opportunity there. So it's difficult, but like if you start looking, I would say like 5 months before coming to Rotterdam, like you'll find something.
Would you say you learn more about how to work in a company, or do you also learn how to start your own company?
Both actually. Like we also had in the second year we had a course called entrepreneurship, which I also really enjoyed, and I was also teaching in the last year of my bachelor to the second year bachelor students. And besides, of course, like reading all the scientific articles about how entrepreneurs do, like how they behave, you also are able to set up your own company, basically. And what I really liked is that it's not with a lot of other courses. I sometimes feel when I saw like other university doing it, they only write like a business plan, but we were also really able to kind of do it. So what I thought about in my second year in the course entrepreneurship was like, okay, we have so many clothing pieces and there's so many waste in a way. So we created an app in which you could like rank your clothing based on, okay, like this matches this, that matches that, and then you could actually see which clothes you wouldn't need, and that clothes you were able to sell. So kind of a different version of Vinted, so to say. But we actually built this app in a dummy version. So like it never hit the market, sadly, but we actually learned something about web development and about like coding and how to do it. So it's really like practice-based, hands-on. So I really enjoyed it, yeah.
Hi. Truly inspiring. Can I ask you? I guess you have a lot of opportunities to work everywhere in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a dream to work more, or are you done now? Do you stay here?
Yeah, I get quite, like, how to say, not bored, but like I kind of want to move around a lot. So right now I'm here working in Amsterdam for Amazon, but like they have so many international possibilities, like to reallocate to the US or to Asia. So I definitely, I think I will stay here for another year just to get like the first 2 years of work experience in, and then most likely I will move abroad again. It also makes it kind of easier knowing now that I have a network all over the world. So I mean, there are as many friends here in the Netherlands as all over the world, basically. So that having a kind of social safety net along the world kind of makes it easier. But yeah, let's see where the path takes me. I think I will stay another year in Amsterdam, and then I really hope to move again. Yeah.
I do understand that the third year, first term is foreseen for abroad experience.
Mm-hmm.
But how flexible is the program if you want to do a second abroad experience, maybe already in the second year? Is this can you manage this by yourself, or are there restrictions from the program, or how is it?
Yeah, how it was for me that like the first 2 years really fixed. So it's just like only you have to take the courses basically. So there's not really a lot of flexibility. And then in the third year, there's like the first semester basically where you can do either internship, international exchange, or some broadening courses here at RSM. But like the first 2 years, you really have to be here and learn everything that the program is set up for. Yeah.
Hi. So with all your experience and everything, if you had to go back to the start of the university, what have you done, like, things differently? Like maybe you shouldn't haven't taken that course, or things done differently than what you have done.
Oh, that's a good question, actually. Looking back for where I am now, I think I would have paid better attention at the Excel course, because it's really useful to learn how to do Excel and how to code and how to use SQL. So I think I would choose more, practice-based application course in such a way, because I was always like, okay, coding is not something I'm good at or I want to learn. Well, in my job right now at Amazon, everyone has to learn to code. Even as an account manager, I have to learn how to write a script. So I think it would have been easier to learn it already when I just was a student and had the time, compared to it now when like every Friday afternoon we have like, at Amazon we don't call Friday, but we call it like Friday AI. So like everyone has to kind of upskill their skills. So I think I would have done that different. Yeah. Yeah.
Was it hard for you to find the job with your degree?
To be honest, I've been super lucky. Like for me, there was tons of applications and tons of like talks with recruiters, and I think also like that's thanks to the master program I did, because in the international management SAMS program you have like career week basically every year somewhere else in Europe. So for me it was 2 times in Barcelona, so I went 2 times to Barcelona to the career forum, we called it, and there you speak to a lot of people, you speak to a lot of recruiters. So I had a really big network, so to say, to reach out to, and then through that network and through the fact that basically everywhere I applied, I already had some people from RSM being there, so I could get a referral. That made it in hindsight really like rather easy for me. Of course, like still had to pass all the tests. I did like all those stupid IQ things you have to do nowadays to get a job. I still had to do it all, but to be able to have like a network that can prepare you for that in a way, like makes it way more easy compared to when you don't know anyone within the company. Yeah.
If you had any expectations before joining RSM, were they met when you started the program?
Yes, also a good question. No, I think the expectation I had was just to study in a really international environment, basically to be abroad in the Netherlands. That was my expectation. That was met 100%, basically. Like, of course, when you're in all the sessions you are in now, like they always say, okay, it's really international. Like we all do things, we do everything in English, and you think, okay, yeah, like good selling story, But for me, it was truly that way. They also like make sure in the first year if you do group assignments, you cannot choose your own group. So I'm not sure if it still is, but like back then, you cannot choose your own group. So you really have to. They really make sure that every nationality is represented in a group, and you're like, there's never a group of only Dutch people or only German people or whatever, so it's really mixed. So I really like that, to get to know a lot of different people and really get to learn how to work together with such multicultural group, so to say. And I think the second expectation as I have from the program was to get in a lot of contact with a lot of businesses and really get to understand like how do they operate and not. And that's also been met, like as I said, almost every course had some company involvement in it, which made it after like 3 years of Bachelor already really clear for me how it really works in the real world. That sounds really silly, but like really how businesses operate, like how marketing plans get executed, how consultancy works, or how financial modeling works. And I think that's really special. Yeah. Any other doubts or things I can help with? Oh, okay, thanks. Thank you. No, like if you have any questions left, I will be here for a couple of minutes. So also feel free to just pass by and speak to me in person, or like if you have a personal question. Thank you so much for being here, and hope to I'll see you soon.